Warning: this live stream is unfiltered. It contains content not suitable for minors, the elderly, those of middle age, young adults, pregnant persons, anyone nursing a child, those who may become pregnant, balding individuals, individuals operating heavy machinery, driving an automobile, flying an aircraft, using any electronic device, or who are or may begin breathing. Viewer discretion is advised, but let's not kid. You'll watch anyway.
So you found the skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Cambrian Bunny Award nominations. This is the 5th time we're doing this, 5th annual, if you will. I'm Dapper Dinosaur, I'm in the top left. I'm the one who's a dinosaur, it's pretty obvious. I've got with me Jordan from Reason to Doubt. Jordan, tell people who you are.
I'm Jordan. Back when I had hobbies before capitalism punched me in the dick, I used to run the Reason to Doubt YouTube channel. So if you want to see what I used to do with my free time, you can go over there and watch me debunk the Shroud of Turin and also other stuff. You know.
Sure. Also, Jordan appears on my ideally weekly, but often not weekly, Star Trek Adventures actual play show over on my second channel, Top Hats Off, where he is the commanding officer, Commander Malkava.
Well, executive officer. I'm the second in command.
That's what I meant, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The
Executive
stabby
officer.
drill.
Yes, which is why he's coming to us from the bridge.
Correct.
All right, we got Dan from Creation Myths. Dan, who are you?
Hello. I'm Dan. I'm an evolutionary biologist. My channel is Creation Myths, so in my free time, I will use YouTube to tell you why creationists are wrong about literally everything they say. Every creationist claim, it's always wrong, but we're going to go through it in detail, look at the bio, and give you the tools as a non-biologist to be able to quickly and efficiently convey why they are wrong to whoever happens to be listening at the time.
Awesome. Erica from Guts at Gibbon. Who are you?
Hello. Hi, I'm Erica from the YouTube channel Guts at Gibbon. You guys will be pleased to know I hit the big 200K this afternoon. I was psyched to see that. My channel does not deserve that many people watching it, but I'm glad that it does because I do what's similar to the other guys on this show tonight too, which is I debunk pseudoscience like creationism, race realism, any variety of either of those two topics. And I also talk about like the latest discoveries in human evolution. I'm behind on both of those things, which is really great. I'm sort of in Jordan's boat right now, except instead of making money off of the thing that I'm doing instead of YouTube, I'm working on a dissertation, which is none. It's all the work, none of the payment, which is great.
Yeah, it's.
So I'm glad to be here. Yeah, we you guys are gonna see, but we've it's been a really busy year. This has
That's
been
an understatement.
I genuinely think that this is the hardest year so far.
There are snubs.
Yeah, there are going to be snubs.
There are several notable snubs in the nominations. There's just not enough space.
We can't.
So
we can't.
Yep.
We'll mention them. We'll get there.
But we got honorable mentions.
I don't know. Have I made it for every Cambrian Bunny Dapper? I think I've made it for most of them.
Have not made it for every Cambrian Bunny. I have. Yes. I believe Jordan and Dan are the only every single time.
Because a couple times it was just me and Dan. This way.
No,
there you go.
Okay, as long as I'm not the only loser here, someone.
This is our 5th one, Erica.
Someone called Colton dry critical in chat earlier. Which is
Yeah, that tracks. That's why. That's why I got the name.
As long as it's not just me who's the loser here. It's me and dry critical not making it Tapper Jigger.
Yeah.
And now, of course, we come to Colton, who, as far as I know, doesn't have a channel, unless that's changed recently. Yeah. No. So Colton has been a big part of the Science Friends in sort of the not public-facing side. We actually have a number of people who are not super public-facing, but who are always around to help with finding citations, alerting us to new stupid creationist nonsense, stuff like that. And so while Colton has done a few public-facing things, I really appreciate all the work he does in the background that you guys don't always get to see or appreciate, but like, no, big deal.
Yeah. So as he said, my name's Colton, and the only other thing to mention, since he just introduced me, is I'm a geologist who lives near the Rocky Mountains. That's it.
Where it's cold and windy.
Extremely. There's hurricane force winds outside right now.
Woo!
Oh my god, misery.
Yeah,
Misery.
I've encountered those.
I love it.
Better than Florida.
A
So
lot
true.
better than Florida.
So true.
All right, so guys, what we are here to do is we are picking our we're not picking. We're alerting you to our nominations for the Cambrian Bunny Awards. They have already been selected, and I've already downloaded images for them and everything. And the way this is going to work is I'm going to go through the panel, and they're going to give you their nominees for 4 categories: worst behaved creationist, worst creationist creationist who gave the worst argument, right? Worst use of the English language by a creationist, and best creationist overall, on a sliding scale where we're only including creationists, right? So this is not the best person, it's the best creationist. So I don't want to hear, that all of the choices are really crappy people. Yeah, I know. That's how it works. So, yeah. So anyway.
There are caveats to some things too. Like I mentioned mine in our chat beforehand, but I have a caveat for some of my picks, just because the competition is just so stiff this year.
It really
that
is.
I had to par it down in order to actually get some picks. That makes sense.
2025 was a banner year for
everything but best overall, where we were all like, I guess we'll put this one in. Yeah, I guess.
That was hard. That one was hard.
Yeah, there are definitely going to be some honorable mentions, and I want to get to honorable mentions after we get through the full list, and we'll get like, here's some honorable mentions for worst behaved or worst argument, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
And the way this is going to work is, once we have all the nominees announced and reasons given, I'm going to have a poll. It's going to be an image poll that's going to go up in my post sections on my channel, and you will be able to vote. And then in about a month or so, we will come back and we will announce the winners. And feel free to vote as many times as you want. You can vote once per YouTube account. So if you want to go set up like a bot that signs you up for a new Google address every half second and specifically just navigates to a poll to vote for someone, I will not stop you. Now, I do believe that's a violation of the Google Terms of Service or whatever. So take that up with Google, but I will not stop you because I physically can't and I don't care.
Vote early and often.
Right. This is one of those things where look, it's just like the drinking game. It doesn't matter. We're just doing this for funsies. In fact, I'm actually rescinding my offer this year for most of these people to get trophies. Most of you, I'm not going to send you a trophy because I don't like you enough. And one of you, I don't want to send your widow a trophy because that'd be weird. Spoiler alert on that one. Yeah.
Spoilers, Dapper.
I know, right?
Yeah, the vibe is very playing cards in 1930s Germany, isn't it? Right?
A little bit.
We're having a little fun. We're having a drink. It's 1935 or 5. Yeah, let's call it 5, 6, 8.
I think it's 8.
We can argue about the exact year later.
It's fun. We're having fun. We might die tomorrow. It's fine. Well,
to be fair, that was always true.
That's true. That's fair enough. I meant sort of within.
Yeah.
Under new management.
We have a few things here. Lieutenant Matt, the Navigator, who's been a member for 12 months, is at the Amniote level, says, if SFT is watching, finding citations is not synonymous with asking an artificial stupid hallucinate a paper. All right. Asking an artificial stupid to hallucinate a paper. Yeah, that's true. That is not what finding citations are. In fact, if I remember correctly, when it comes to doing that, the majority of the citations are made up. Because, remember, the hallucination machine doesn't know what a citation is. It knows what a citation looks like. And there's a big difference between those things.
When I was in college, we had a lot of students who would try to submit their geology reports through using ChatGPT, and then they would use a humanizing thing. Even at field camp, like the final capstone thing. Yeah, it was bad. And half the citations, at least, were always fake.
Yeah, just don't do it. My favorite is when lawyers do it, and then the judge brings down the hammer, and they're like, you just submitted a brief with fake citations, man.
Yeah.
These aren't real cases.
Speaking of getting snubbed, Donnie, I don't know that Donnie's going to come out ahead tonight, and I know that's going to be devastating for him.
But he'll recover.
He'll recover. He always does.
We know you're watching, Donnie.
Look,
we know you are.
Donnie, we all know that in another week and a week and a half, you'll make another weird homoerotic thumbnail with Dr. Dan in it for some reason. Maybe wrestling Raw Matt or you.
He won't do that.
No?
No.
He won't do that, Dapper.
Oh, we lost Erica mid-joke.
Erica, come back.
Stop now. For thumbnails, or sometimes his wife does them, and when his wife does them, they're way better. But like he uses AI slap for the community posts instead of home. Like you have to be willing. I think this is a direct quote from that video, but like you have to like home grow your slop, right? Like if it's gonna be cringe, at least have it come from the heart. Like at least let it be real, enjoyable human cringe that I can enjoy, like straight from the backyard farm, you know?
Like weirdly revealing just how much you want to cheat on your wife with Dr. Dan?
Why are we talking about this?
Because it was a theme for so long on his channel that it was very clear he wanted to have sex with you.
We don't know the
I missed the
dynamic.
early 2020s.
We don't know the dynamic between SFT and Mrs. SFT. They could be non-monogamous. You don't know. Might not be cheating at all.
Right.
Right. That's fair.
That's fair.
Suspect, however, based on the various identity markers that they espouse, that is not the case.
That is unlikely.
Yeah. Also, I happen to know that Donnie's a raging homophobe, so I'll make fun of him for being gay because he's extremely gay and a homophobe. Yeah. That's the only time I'm ever going to make fun of you for being gay is when you're a homophobe.
I loved those thumbnails though. Bring them back. I thought those thumbnails had such a charm to them.
The ones with the egg.
Yeah.
Photoshopped in. It was.
I love that.
God, 2020 was a trip.
I think that's what it is for me, Dan. Like I think that it's not even necessarily those thumbnails. It's the time that those thumbnails events for me, right? Like it's a simpler, more innocent time.
Right. Yeah.
More stable, more fun, more relaxed.
The real Sharknado
having to stockpile gas and rice.
Yeah.
The real Sharknado Shark, who's been a member for 44 months, says AIG is a bag of... Oh, wait, wrong stream. That's all right. You can still say it. It's true. AIG are indeed a bag of dicks. Let's see. For $5, Lieutenant Math Navigator says, also, I move that Answers Research Journal be renamed the Journal of Applied Bullshit. That's a good one. Applied Bullshit? Yeah. No, that works. I second this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
All right. It's done.
Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says, Erica, remember, a PhD is close to a PhD, but the ABD always precariously looms nearby.
I can't even go there right now. I had to like break down this. It took me like, let's see, when was this? At the tail end of January, the tail end of my break in January, like when I was home, when I was home for Christmas, seeing my family and stuff like that, which I was still working the whole time I was there. I had to bring home a box full of like 3D printed myosin ape teeth so that I could mess with them with my calipers and like look at them and make sure that I was looking at the right thing here. I had a bug in my code and I could not figure out what was causing it. And it took me like 2 straight days of troubleshooting to finally figure out what it was. And it was completely inconsequential.
Did you try the rubber duck method?
What's the rubber duck method called?
It's where you explain to a rubber duck what like each line of the code is, and that'll let you know which one you screwed up.
Yep.
Then yes, I did do that because that's how I finally figured out what was wrong. As I was like, okay, I've got hundreds of lines of code through several different scripts, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna have to start from the top and figure out what's going on here. And I was like annotating it the entire time, and like R, so it's like hashtag, and then writing what it's supposed to do. So I'm like on bad terms with my dissertation right now, is what I'm trying to say. Like we're wrestling. I'm wrestling with the Lord, but it's my dissertation.
Just make sure it doesn't cheat by paralyzing you after touching you in the hip. Now your hip goes numb. It might.
It might. I mean, it can paralyze me very easily. It's happened many times. Many such cases.
Andrew Judge, who's been a member for 2 months and is at the Emulate level, says, good evening from us in Louisiana. Well, good evening to us from all over the place, because while our one Louisiana friend isn't here, we're all in all sorts of different places. I don't think any of us are in the same state as anyone else.
No,
I don't think so. We don't have Jackson, so we don't even have the representation of some states that have been mentioned in chat.
I know.
Somebody go to the aquarium, pull him out, get him here.
I mean, I was there not that long ago. We met up. We hung out.
Jackson is doing more important things. He is locally involved in his community and being politically active, like grassroots style, while we're doing the very important work of hanging out online.
Hey, we need to do that too. Roshina for $4.99 says, Donnie Deals is currently doing a stupid stream about thinking the one-way speed of light towards us is infinity, not C. He'd have to watch this in rerun. Well, I'm sure he will. And that also sounds like something he would do. And then Dr. Kip Davis says, I have won very few awards in my story career. What do I need to do, or who do I need to bribe to get nominated for the coveted Cambrian Bunny? Well, first of all, the person you need to bribe is me. Second, I'm not sure that you want one of these awards because we're about to announce the first category, and it is
Let's do it.
the worst behaved young Earth creationist. So this is just what it sounds like. Whichever creationist has been the biggest piece of shit in 2025, that's who this is for. We're going to start the nominations with Dr. Dan.
So I just want to preface this by saying this was an extraordinarily crowded category. There were many deserving individuals for this one. And when later we go through the honorable mentions, there are several we could talk about here and will. My nominee is someone with a long and storied history with many members of this panel.
Oh, yeah.
I am going to nominate Sal Cordova for Worst Behaved 2025, because for those of you who do not know the backstory, Sal has been, like, professionally, we'll say, involved in the creationist movement for at least 20 years. And in that time, from, like, the early aughts to, like, the mid-teens, he had the nickname Slimy Sal, for good reason. If you sparred with him on Reddit, you got a nickname. We all got nicknames at some point from Sal, and they all
were
very
like
rude and
dumb versions, like even dumber versions of
even
Rush
good.
Limbaugh nicknames.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, it was dumb. Like, for example, to give people an idea, one of our mutual friends on the Debate Evolution subreddit is a guy in a chair. It's it, just guy in a chair. And so for literally years, Sal referred to him in every time he mentioned him when they were talking as guy in a toilet seat. That's it.
Which
just like, how old are we?
It's too low. It's too long. It's too immature. It's just not good.
Yeah, it's dumb. So that was like into the teens, right? The 20 teens. Now you get to 2020, 2021, Sal seemed to have turned a new leaf. And like, he and I did a couple debates on genetic entropy, and like, I know Erica, you had a number of conversations with him. Like, when we did our creationist tier list, he was like the top ranked. This was like 4 or 5 years ago at this point.
He was the first
He
winner
loves
of the
that
best overall
He's still
Cambrian Bunny. Yeah.
Not just
Yeah,
that,
that's
but
right.
once he actually sat in a like private, just like hangout stream that we did. Like, it wasn't even streamed on the internet. It was
Oh,
just
Zoom.
a private
Yeah, it was a
hangout
Zoom
on
meeting.
Zoom.
Yep.
We invited him and he chilled with us for like 3 hours and it was totally fine.
Yep.
yeah.
And I don't know what happened.
So
I have ideas.
So, a couple of years ago, some of you, like the last like 2-ish years maybe, people may have noticed a slight change in attitude from Mr. Cordova.
Yeah.
And this year, and just the last few months, we're now witnessing what can only be described as an epic crash out, where he has been on a tear, making, no joke, dozens of Reddit threads in the span of like a week, targeting specific people, going so far as to make a new subreddit dedicated specifically to calling a very prominent user of the Debate Evolution subreddit rude names, up to and including the R slur. That's where we're
fun.
at.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff.
In the title of one of the threads, he did that. So, we're back to Slimy Sal. We're just all the way, we've come full circle, and here we are. And I know most people watching this probably don't follow the ins and outs of the debate, like the Debate Evolution and the Creation subreddit beefs that go on, and then the spin-offs from that. But it has been a truly incredible meltdown to witness, especially considering, like, how much respect Sal had built for himself in a relatively short amount of time just a few years ago, and that is all just completely just set on fire, and it's now just smoldering wreck at this point. So that is why Sal Cordova is my nominee for Worst Behaved 2025.
Awesome. We got a few things to read here, and then we're going to move on to the next denominator. Sinar Izu says, who's been a member for 16 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, "Damn, everyone is here." Yeah. This is the day when really the science friends get together, and we have a good time. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, "Sal's gone full hagfish in the last few years." Yeah, hagfish, also known as slime eels, because they exude thick mucus when they're in distress. It's actually a really, really good appellation for him. We'll just start calling him a hagfish. I like it.
I like it because it's got the slimy thing, but it's an inside joke. You
Yeah.
know?
He's
Yeah.
probably not going to figure out what it means unless he watches this.
Take notes, Sal. This is how you do a nickname.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, Sal likes to respond to my videos, but he doesn't like to watch my videos. That's been a theme recently. The Real Shark Nano Shark for 200 Argentinian pesos says, Cordova having both the best creationist and the worst behaved creationist awards. I'm playing both sides, so I always come out on top. I brought the fancy quote marks to match the occasion. Yes. Playing both sides. It's a great one. It's always sunny. And then Grievous for $10 says, bring back the Sal timer. I don't think so. Here's the thing. I actually checked the Sal timer and the link is broken, so we would have to like remake the Sal timer. Which I'm probably too lazy to do if I'm being honest with you. But there's one person I know who is petty as hell. It's Vishanti. So try to get her to do it because she's the one who did it in the first place. So, in fact, that's one of the reasons I have her around is because I'm not petty enough, but she is.
Very true.
All right, next up is Colton. Colton, who is your choice for worst behaved, and why should people vote for him?
So I'm picking Donnie, and there are two reasons for this. One, he's now back to dealing with Kent Hovind, convicted domestic abuser, fraudster, all that. Honestly, though, I'm kind of inoculated against that. Doesn't really surprise me. What does surprise me is the fact that he milked David McQueen of a lot of spare time and mental energy in like the last 2 to 3 years of his life. Mm-hmm. And then McQueen died, and I didn't hear it from an announcement on Donnie's channel or anything else. I had to hear it from Joel Duff. And I went back after that happened, and I went back the other day, and I have seen no acknowledgement, no thanks, no in memoriam, no nothing for all the time and effort that sweet old man put into trying to help him respond to a bunch of different things, particularly the heat problem and like the oil industry stuff. And just crickets.
Donnie.
Rest in power.
Yeah, I miss McQueen so much. He was so great.
Donnie, download a copy of You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings, put it together a slideshow where it fades between each slide, and then just publish that on your channel with no monetization. That's it. It's
tubes.
Easy. It just all the tubes. Just tubes.
Like I honestly, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I would have loved to sit down and have a beer or a coffee with David McQueen.
Oh, 100%.
He believed what he believed, right? He put it all out there. He was for all intents and purposes, for all we were able to tell, he was a good person who was kind to his wife and his friends and like was active in his community. Good guy. The world is worse without him in it. I do believe that. I liked Dave McQueen. He made me laugh. He was funny. He was good-natured. He had good banter. This was a guy that, as Colton said, we're willing to say this when we just engaged with him, here online, because like we didn't really know the guy. We interacted with him tangentially, but none of us really interacted with him very seriously. But with Donnie, like I don't get it. McQueen put dozens and dozens and dozens of hours into that channel, into Donnie's channel. And that's what we saw here on YouTube. God only knows how much was going on behind the scenes, right? So it completely escapes me. I cannot even imagine why he would have not acknowledged that yet. Unless, for him, it really does just boil down to McQueen was a tool for him to try and give the illusion of like solving the heat problem. And without McQueen, they're like working on that actively. There was no reason to give him the time of day.
It's obvious.
I hope it's not that.
It's obvious why, because when he was dead, he wasn't making him money. That's that's why he had him around, because he made him money. Yep. But like
that's why Kent's back.
Just to illustrate, like I spoke to McQueen, I think face to face once or twice. But the first time I talked to him, we had a great conversation. Afterwards, he said he enjoyed it so much he wanted to send me a copy of his book, and I still have it. My thing won't do it, but he sent me a sign.
My goodness.
You can't see it because of my thing. There's a sign like note on the inside, Do
you want to know what I saw on McQueen's obituary page that like damn near made me cry? It said that like after somebody commented that the only reason they knew him was because after like I think it was Hurricane Katrina, he was going around the completely destroyed part of Louisiana, like picking up American flags that had been blown down. Like come on, man. That was who he was.
he walked the walk is the thing, right? Like
Yeah.
he genuinely thought that what he was doing with his time was making the world a better place. He was a kind and compassionate person, and you got to give him that, right? So like I don't understand, like, why hasn't this been acknowledged? Like, unless there was some secret fallout between the two of them, which I can't even imagine would have ever happened.
Yeah, imagine
Just because
falling
that
out with
wasn't
McQueen.
what it was.
Like, how would
Right.
you
Yeah,
even
like
do
that-
that?
Yeah, that
It's like
wasn't
falling
for
out with
what?
Santa Claus. Like,
Hey,
Yeah, literally like falling out with Santa
Mr.
Claus. The only
Rogers
other thing-
hates me. What did you do?
The only other thing that I can think of is that there's maybe an off chance that like McQueen's family was like, don't pull his death into this, but you would think that there would be at least an in memoriam, because that there's
just a
precedent for that
community
on-
post. Just a
well, there's
community post or
precedent.
something.
There's precedent for it on Donnie's channel. Like when Donnie lost a loved one, he posted the whole. He had a lot of material on his channel about that. So I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
At least Answers in Genesis acknowledged that McQueen died.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Answers in Genesis better than Donnie.
And by the way, they're a bag of dicks, in case anyone's wondering. All right. Oops, sorry.
Hey,
It's
wait,
so
just
dependent
one
on the issue, though.
Just one quick thing to just bolster Colton's case here on this. So going back to Kent for a moment. Now remember, Kent has gotten banned from YouTube like 4 or 5 times. Like his channels have gotten nuked. He now has I think it's the Dr. Dino channel that gets like in the 2 to 3 digits views compared to like the tens of thousands that he used to get. Donnie and Rawmat are collaborating with him, but they're not doing YouTube stuff. It's all behind a paywall on their Patreon, which tells you they don't care about the domestic abuse. They don't care about the federal tax crimes. It's all, as soon as it was just far enough that people are going to let it slide. They were like, we can make more money with this guy. And they're trying to cash in. And so just want to make sure it's the degree to which it's all about the money is clear. It's bad.
Yep. And hey, look, I mean, people here make money on YouTube. It's okay to make money on YouTube, but like, have some standards. I don't know. Just a few.
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm sure we will dig down deeper into
Oh,
that
yeah,
whole
probably.
thing when we get to our honorable mentions, because that's gonna be an honorable mention. I have some thoughts on that. But
That's fair.
Let's get through our categories.
All
first.
right. So next up, we've got Jordan. Jordan, who are you nominating, and why should people vote for him?
Sure. So I want to remind everyone, first of all, that the qualification for being a nominee for this award is that you are a young Earth creationist who's like in the public sphere. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be young Earth.
I don't think that's an official rule that we've made either way, but they have all been young Earth creationists as far as I know.
So
Mine's not though. Mine is
think-
not.
Oh,
Definitely
okay.
creationist.
Yeah. Okay. Creationists. Yeah.
And I think
The-
I think like Rana's gotten a nomination in the past.
Okay. So
Maybe.
anti-evolutionist. How about that? You have to be an
Yeah, yeah,
anti-evolutionist.
but the kind of like conception is usually geared towards young Earth creationists. But
Usually,
anyway,
yeah.
like a creationist, right.
Fair enough.
And so, with that in mind, my nominee for worst behaved young Earth creationist, the person who did the most damage to the human race in 2025, is Speaker of the House and National Socialist Mike Johnson. He is a young Earth creationist. We know this because he's talked about it publicly. He has an author page on Answers in Genesis. And the thing I'm nominating him for is, the fascism, like the dismantling of the United States government and the oppression of minorities, particularly anybody who is brown and has a Spanish accent, for completely just throwing away all of the power of his branch of government, for getting power and then immediately getting on his knees and handing it to the biggest bag of loser dicks possible.
You actually went a slightly different way with that getting on his knees conclusion than I thought you were going to go for.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, he's just like his mouth is covered in Cheeto dust because he like.
Okay, there it is.
It's impossible, and so like I want to nominate someone else. I would like to live in a world where Mike Johnson is not so prominent a person. I want him to retire from this. What I want for him, I shouldn't say on YouTube, but the YouTube friendly version is I want him to lose his job and then go work for AIG so he can make fun of him there and he can do less harm. But I don't think that there's a single person in the young Earth creationist world who has done more harm than Mike Johnson, because he is directly responsible for the death of thousands, if nothing else, USAID being canceled.
That's
Like
probably
just-
tens of thousands at least.
Just that, tens of thousands, if not millions.
No, the estimates for that are 1 million within a couple of years. As somebody, I forget who said it, but as I forget where I read or heard this, but they said it's been 11 months and this administration is putting up Hitler numbers thanks to dismantling USAID.
For sure, right? Because USAID was responsible for delivering untold amounts of aid, specifically for this example, malaria prophylactics to sub-Saharan African populations. Malaria is a deadly, deadly killer. And if it weren't for Malarone or doxycycline, far more people would die and now will die because the rug has been pulled out from under these nations without any warning, right? Like they didn't even have time to get their feet under them before the rug was pulled out. There is no doubt in my mind that the actual amount of harm caused, like with regard to lives ended from USAID, from what is eventually going to happen with healthcare in the United States and healthcare coverage in the United States, to God only knows, like talking about the concentration camps and things of that nature with regard to immigration, if we want to call it a kind word, right? Most harm, easily, for sure. Agreed. Like most amount of deaths, that's a hard one to beat.
So a lot of people are going to complain, one, because we're making a special exception for Mike Johnson to be nominated again, but also because, like, why you guys get political? We hear this every time we talk about politics on any of our channels. Why can't you just stick to the science? Why can't you just talk about creationism? Why can't you keep? And the thing is, like, the whole reason that this is a problem, like, if young earth creationists, if the only thing they wanted to do was convince people that the earth was 6,000 years old, I would care from an academic, I prefer the truth sort of way, but that's a pretty harmless thing. But that is not what they want. The young earth creationist thing, the entire endeavor is just a sideshow for white Christian nationalism. Like, that's the whole point. So Mike Johnson is the natural working out of the efforts of AIG.
So let's just live in a fantasy world where we can exclusively focus on the science and science related topics, right? Like let's say we were to acquiesce to the people who might complain about that kind of thing. Mike Johnson is still doing incalculable amounts of harm, to the scientific infrastructure in the United States, which incidentally is also going to cost millions of lives down the line, because by more than halving, at least that was the initial idea, the NIH and the NSF's budget, we are closing down projects ranging from agriculture to cancer research. Why? To give tax cuts to billionaires, right? Like it is as simple as that. So even just from a brute, let's only care about science perspective, which is a myopic perspective, to be clear, he's still costing people lives.
Okay, but Erica,
and neutering science.
Elon Musk needs to keep his ketamine stash up.
Yeah, he's got to be in the cave.
Very important for him.
Not just that, but Mike Johnson also has been supporting bills that basically give AI companies no restrictions. And again, I have dealt with students just in geology alone who are heavily using AI to do their thinking for them. Your doctors and your engineers, like, don't get sick and don't drive over a bridge in the next 15 years.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
Everyone who has passed college now, or almost everyone, is using AI to get through their courses and not actually learn anything. And then they're going to use it in their development projects and people are going to die.
Just making a note for myself to not get sick in the next 15 years.
That's important.
I'll just
on it.
Make sure.
Yeah.
A plastic bubble might be a good idea. Get a HEPA filter and a plastic bubble and then connect the two and then live in that.
Look, if I get some terminal illness in the next 15 years, I'm going into the woods and just ending it all. I'm not...
We're live on YouTube, Colton. Be careful.
Colton, at this rate, measles is going to get you first, right?
I don't want to get measles. Well, then again, I don't go to the
not that kind of doctor. Not that kind of doctor. Consult your physician. But in 1 year ago, last January, reading, because I, like my friend Jordan and other people who were kind of sounding the alarm and told we were hysterical, I read Project 2025, so I saw all the vaccine stuff coming down the pike. So I re-upped my MMR and my Tdap. And you should consult with your physician about doing the same before it's illegal.
I
Goop-
can't believe you guys got so hysterical. That's very womanly.
I
of
can't.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys are just.
Are we back on
you're just-
Donnie all of a sudden?
You're just overreacting. They wouldn't actually do that. Stop being ridiculous.
yeah. It's not like they wrote a book where they spelled out exactly what they were going to do, and then they did those things. Jordan, why did we have to do those shows where we were trying to warn people about all the bad things that I'm going to be mad about that forever, by the way.
Who
fair.
could have
That's
predicted this? Who could have possibly predicted this?
I mean, the
I
people writing
love-
the book specifically.
I love the classic, the quintessential "I told you so" from the wall, right? Like it's not as satisfying as you might think.
No.
Nope.
Goop23 for $5 says people in chat are saying that Johnson won last year, so he shouldn't be a nomination this year. Now, technically, the no sequential nominations can't be nominated after you win was primarily for best overall.
That's
So,
really what the rule was for.
Yeah. But I get that, but also, if you feel like he shouldn't win again,
Don't
don't
vote
vote
for
for
him.
him. Yeah, vote
vote
for
for
someone else. We have 3 other options for you. We got one more coming up. Let's see. For $10, Grievous says science is inherently political. Also, trans rights with a trans rights flag. Absolutely, trans rights.
Real.
I was actually like trying to figure out like, do I have a like higher than the average proportion of trans people who are like in my Discord? And the answer is definitely.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that, because what that means to me is that I'm providing a space that's welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is why they are there. And I am happy that that's what I'm doing. And then we just got a flood of trans rights flags in the chat. So thank you very much. Inquisitive Infidel for $5 says, may all of the wrong earthers and anti-science bags of mostly water be ridiculed. Thank you. And then I think we're caught up on that. So, last and certainly not least for worst behaved nomination, Erica, who is your nominee for worst behaved and why should people vote for him?
So I know with my dogged agreement with Jordan that Mike Johnson is the worst. You might think that my nomination would also be Mike Johnson, but it's not. And as I said to the boys here before we came into the show, while I agree that he's probably the worst, I don't know that he should be included in this category just because including Mike Johnson opens the door to including like Doug Wilson for all the shit that he did this year, and many other people. Like I'm sure that Pete Hegseth is also like a young Earth creationist, given his proximity to Doug Wilson. But there's a lot of people that we could include who are like, I guess with Mike Johnson, you could say since he wrote for AIG, it's slightly different. But then Doug also started a college that's young Earth creationist. See, there's like a fine line there. So I decided to rope myself back and go with rather than a chronic, widespread evil, I want to go with an acute, very specific evil. For mine. And so my nomination for worst behaved this year is Gunter Beckley. And the reason is because Gunter Beckley passed away. He died around this time in January of last year.
Yep,
and
been just over a year.
He died in a car accident. And so when this first rang out, everybody was like, oh my gosh, like that's horrible. That sucks. Condolences to his family. Nobody deserves to die in a car accident like that, like for being a young Earth creationist. Like, God, or for being a creationist in general, an intelligent design advocate. Like that's ridiculous, right? But then police reports started to roll in about the nature of his death. And at present, and I checked I checked once I got onto the stream, but just to make sure that this was still the latest as far as I can tell, police reports were saying that Gunter Beckley died in a car accident because he impacted another car, a car of a 41-year-old who I believe also had a family, and that this was intentional, meaning that Gunter Beckley committed a murder-suicide. And the reason why they think that is the case is because allegedly, according to this report, Gunter Beckley's wife called the police because she was worried that he was taking off in a car with suicidal ideation, and then he did kill himself, and he killed somebody else with him. And far be it from me to tell somebody how to, there are a million resources out there. There's, I'm not going to speak to the nature of suicide. I'm not qualified enough to speak to that. But what I will say is if that's something that you're going to do for whatever reason, right? Like take our example for earlier, if you get some kind of terminal illness and you deserve to die on your own terms and you decide to,
which does seem to be the case here.
Sure. Yes. Right. Like if you want to end things on your own terms like that, there are conditions that I think that is within somebody's purview, whatever. But there is never an excuse to bring somebody else into that, who is obviously not consenting to be killed by your car going, 60, 80 miles an hour, whatever it was. So I think it's hard to come up with a worse behavior than murder, right? Because that is what the police are referring to this as right now, is a murder suicide. I hope that I'm wrong on this. I hope that's not the case, and that they come out and show that that's not the way that it went down. But at present, that seems to be what the reports are saying. And it bothers me deeply that this isn't something that was this is something that seems to be kind of like ignored by a lot of the DI folks who are like talking about Gunter Beckley's impact, and they're talking about all the positive things that he did. And like I know that's tough because it's like to them, I should say, he was like a colleague and whatever, and they want to say nice things about him. But that's a hard pill for me to swallow. And I don't know what the answer is. Like, I don't know if you just say, hey, our colleague died and he also took he murdered somebody else on the way out, and that sucks. Like, I don't know if you go with that, or if you just don't say anything at all. But like, I definitely don't think that just like blatantly praising him is the way to go. So I think this kind of impacts a lot of other people. So he's my nomination for worst behaved. The murder suicide at present, according to the police, and I'll put a link in the chat to what I'm reading here to sort of make that case. But yeah. I find that here's what I'll say. I find the entire thing very disturbing because we interacted with Gunter. Gunter wrote like 3 articles about me and about other people here, right?
He mentioned at least,
what was it he called us?
Deplorable ilk.
Yeah, he mentioned me and Erica and a few other by name in an article, and then said we were and their deplorable ilk.
Right, like he clearly had some stuff going on because he was always very acrid in engaging with people that he disagreed with. But like years ago, I debated with him, like I had a conversation online with him, and he seemed fine then. Something seemed to happen. And I can't speak to the conditions before his death, but yeah, there's never any reason to pull a murder-suicide in the way that Gunter Beckley did here.
I will add this, far be it from me to give the DI any grace, but I think their memorial article came out like almost immediately after because someone in his family got in contact with him, and it was like 2 days later that the police started doing their investigation and came up with this.
Well.
I mean, they you can find their article and they're like, this is devastating. Like, he's a colleague, he's a friend. And you're right. Like, to be fair, if that article came out beforehand, that puts them in a tough position, right? Like, do you pull the article and then you're like, psych, it turns out that he killed himself and another person intentionally. And
yeah, that's what you do, actually.
I think
that's the
correct
answer.
Would do, yeah.
I agree. I'm just saying it's a tough position, right?
If that happened with one of you, I would pull that article.
So would I, or I would
Please do.
At least pull a Casey Luskin, who we'll be seeing later, and put an asterisk on it.
More spoilers.
Hey, by the way, yeah, bad deal.
All right, Princess Censored Dinosaur Michigan. For 25 Polish zlotys just sends a whole mess of trans flags. So thank you very much. And again, trans rights. All right, so at this point, we now have the first poll up. Who was the worst behaved creationist of 2025? You have Sal, you have Donnie, you have Mike Johnson, and you have Gunter Beckley. Vote now. Vote every day if you want to, or every second. I don't care. It's fine.
Vote early, vote often, folks.
Exactly.
Pretend you're in Hudson County, New Jersey. Vote early, vote often.
All right, so our next category is worst argument. So this is reserved not for necessarily the stupidest thing, just the argument that makes the least good of a case for the position that's being argued for. So, which I guess is the same thing as the stupidest thing. But I guess it's not the stupidest person, right? A smart person can make a horrible, horrible argument. So this is not the dumbest creationist, because that would be hard to figure out, because they're all, in various ways, seemingly very dumb. Or very dishonest, I suppose. But this levels that out, right? Doesn't matter if they're dishonest, doesn't matter if they're dumb, doesn't matter whatever else. The worst argument. And we're going to be starting with Erica, because we're going to go sort of back and forth in terms of who's going first for these. So Erica, who is your nominee for the person who gave the worst argument, and why should people vote for them? In other words, what's that argument and why is it dumb?
I mean, there were so many bad heat problems attempts, like so many bad attempts.
Spoiler.
Problem this year. Yeah, spoiler again, right? Like we've seen a lot. We saw a lot of attempts that all failed miserably. The most recent was from David Winsberg. who's not even like he's not really even trying to solve the heat problem. He just had like this enormous series where he was like, according to physics, the ocean can't physically boil. Like, I don't think that he understands the point of the heat problem, which is
And that was discounting accelerated decay because he doesn't believe that happened.
Completely discounting accelerated nuclear decay, which he believes it can't happen because of how much heat it would produce, right? Like he's just talking about, I think it was seafloor spreading. Like I think that's the key.
Yeah, it was just like the movement of the plates and the cooling of the ocean floor after the fact.
Is he?
Yeah.
You said I've heard you say a couple times that he says that the ocean cannot physically boil. What does he mean?
He's talking about, to be perfectly honest, Jordan, I don't really know. I think what he's saying is that the way that the plates would have contact with the water and the speed, I guess the rate at which this is happening, the heat wouldn't transfer in such a way so as to cause the entire ocean to boil. That's my understanding of it.
At a certain point, you're adding enough heat to the system, the water is gonna boil. That's just how it works. Like,
his series isn't done yet.
I don't.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say his series isn't done yet, and I heard this secondhand from Donnie because like I haven't seen all of the episodes, but it's like, you know, there's a lot of like, oh, you know, Erica doesn't know anything about physics. I know these are not my numbers. These are the numbers from Young Earth Creationists, right?
They're
like,
the ones saying it'll boil the oceans.
Yeah, I'm parroting somebody else here, right? Like I'm not coming out here and saying that I did this math myself, right? As if I could even do it. Yeah, I mean, like once all is said and done and the dust settles, like we'll see what he has to say. We'll see the case that he has to make. But as Colton says, it doesn't matter in the end because it doesn't include accelerated nuclear decay, which is required according to the freaking rate team. Like, come on.
Also, I think Winsberg's problem with accelerated decay wasn't just the heat, but also that like you need God to miraculously start it and stop it.
Yeah.
Apparently, just because.
I also like the implication that in billions of years, when the sun enlarges to engulf the entire Earth, all that will be left is a little bubble of liquid water circling inside the sun for all of eternity until the sun just kind of puffs away into a white dwarf, and then it will just be there as a little icy ball of frozen water that is now frozen because it never could have boiled, which is apparently what it would mean for the water to be incapable of boiling.
Again, I don't know the details of it. I was throwing that out. He's not my nomination here. Like I'm just throwing
That's
that out there.
That's a good point. We're already doing an honorable mention.
Yeah, this was just something that is currently happening, and I'm sort of consuming it as it comes out, like little by little. But one of my nomination for worst argument is about the heat problem, and it's Brian from Apologetics 101. And just like with David, I cannot articulate what his argument actually is.
Hold
on. That was
Wait.
also mine.
You told me yours was Luskin.
I thought you were doing
You told me Luskin. I have Luskin written down for you.
I thought you were doing Luskin with human chimp stuff.
This is worst. Sorry, you're right. That's for worst use of the English language. You're
right.
Sorry.
Spoilers on that
one. Nomination, my guy. Okay.
Heads up. My nomination for worst use of the English language. I thought that was the one that
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
My bad. I got discombobulated.
So real quick, this is a bit of a procedural thing. My Unfinished Journey says, for what it's worth, Beckley was nominated last year for the same reason. He obviously hasn't done anything since then. And both AIG and the Discovery Institute are bags of dicks. So, to my memory, what happened last year was we had this discussion on air about whether or not Beckley qualified, and we said that because the murder-suicide happened in January, and these were the nominations for 2024, that he would have to wait. So we talked about it because it was very recent. But we did not nominate him.
The week before the nomination show that it happened.
Right. So I just wanted to get that out there because you know it was very procedural. I wanted to clear up because of course this is a very serious award ceremony, and we take this very, very serious. This is deadly serious, you guys. If the wrong person gets voted in, then there will be consequences of a kind that I shudder to mention because I can't think of any.
My bad on jumping the gun on this. Clearly, I'm already hammered off of one White Claw that I've finished after eating like 5 pieces of pizza tonight. So my bad. I jumped the gun. You know what my next nomination is going to be. This is an easy one, right? Worst argument. I cannot believe that I've skipped ahead because this is my favorite one of the night for myself. It's Casey Luskin. The worst argument is Casey Luskin arguing that humans and chimpanzees are not actually as closely related as we think, because in actuality, their genomic similarity is only 85%, as compared specifically via his 12 plus DI articles, as opposed to the 99% that you tend to see. This is it's a bad argument because it's not true, right? Like he's comparing apples and oranges here. We've been over this a million times. You've heard that exact phrase from probably everybody on this panel who's spoken even tangentially about it. But a paper came out this year in 2025, you et al., which is the complete ape genomes, and it basically fully sequenced or very nearly fully sequenced, almost end to end, the genomes of several different ape species, great apes plus a siamang. And when all was said and done, they come out with their percent similarity by various different means. And then they come out with a bunch of other numbers, including how these genomes align to one another, how similar they are in protein coding regions, things of that nature. So Casey looked at this and then took the number, which I am now very convinced that he got directly from Richard Buggs, but that's another story. The 85% alignability number, which we've known about since 2018, and I know we've known about it, and Richard Buggs knows that we've known about it because Richard Buggs has been making blog posts about it since then. And he pitches that as if this is a brand new discovery, and that scientists are just absolutely agape with awe that we used to think it was 99 and now it's actually 85. The 85% similarity number, like I said, has been known for a while. It has to do with the structural alignment, or rather the alignability of the two genomes, which is impacted by the structure of these genomes, how duplications and inversions and all these kinds of things impact the genomes and how they line up one-to-one next to one another. This is not the same type of comparison as where that 99% number comes from. And even if it was, this would not help the creationists, because when you take those numbers, 99% for protein coding regions, about 96% for indels and protein coding similarities included, and about 85, 86%, really it's more like 86% for just how much of the chimp and the human align to one another, and you contextualize that with other pairs of organisms included in that paper, that were included in the paper, in fact, that were directly adjacent to the numbers that Casey Luskin put in his original article, what you will find is that by that same method of comparison, gorillas are less similar to other gorillas.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about that.
By gap divergence, right?
I have a question for Erica regarding that specific number with the gorillas comparison to other gorillas. At any point that was in a figure from the supplementals. At any point did Casey include those data in any of the 12 articles he wrote about this?
No, the only time he mentioned it was when he put his retraction up, or sorry, his clarification, where he was like, and this doesn't actually impact my overall point. And he says, this doesn't impact my point that 85% is actually quite low. And the reason it doesn't impact my point is because I talked about interest-specific differences in one of his other articles, and he doesn't. He talks about humans specifically, and he references some of Joel's, the original papers.
What specific thing was he correcting? He certainly didn't leave out vital data that would debunk his argument in, say, one of his articles where he provided partial representation of a figure or anything, did he?
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason this is the worst argument, because Casey Luskin, in my opinion, just lied, right? Like, because these data actually contradicted what he was saying, right? The fact that gorillas to gorillas in gap divergence, where their similarity was lower, about 85% compared to the human chimp 86%. And the reason for this is biologically understood. It's because gorillas have undergone so many structural changes to their genomes that it's like, one deletion, depending on how large it is, can cause two individuals to differ greatly, even though the portions of the genome that matter are identical, right?
It could be you and your sister or something. Like, you have a deletion, and suddenly you and your sister have a much lower gap sequence identity.
Listen,
exactly.
I'm not a biology guy, so I don't know if I'm understanding this correctly, but basically wasn't what he was doing like, if I had 2 copies of the King James Bible, and in one of them I just ripped the page out, and that moved the rest of them over, wouldn't, by his comparison methods, that means like half of that just goes is counted as not equal?
If you ripped out say the 3rd page of Genesis, suddenly those 2 Bibles are basically not similar at all. Which is obviously dumb.
So a brute alignment can't handle large-scale duplications and deletions for this reason, right? Like, let's say I have a 10-letter string, and then I want to compare it to another 10-letter string that is identical to it. If I duplicate the second one 10 times, so it is now 10 times longer than the first one, right? The first one can be found in its entirety in the second one, and portions of the second one can be found in their entirety in the first, specifically 1/10 of it can. But it's 10 times longer. So how similar are those two genes, or are those two genomes? Casey would tell you that the first one is 100% similar to the second one, and the second one is 10% similar to the first one, because it's been that section has been duplicated 10 times. That's a structural difference between these two genomes, right? That's why gorillas can differ so much, despite the fact that in the portions that matter, they're way more similar than humans and chimps.
Or could it be that there's actually like 5 or 10 or 50 different created gorilla kinds out?
And it's absolutely ridiculous, especially because, and this is going to be irritating to deal with as these papers continue to come out, because I guarantee you the race realists are going to have a field day with it. Humans can differ amongst one another, structurally speaking, a lot too. Every species can within their own species. That does not mean that these things are different, right? Because the areas that are different between the two of them aren't doing anything. But Casey didn't know that. And as a DI guy, he thinks the entire genome is functional. So because of that, in the same breath, he has to tell you that humans and chimps are only 85% similar to one another. And also, humans can be only as little as 87% similar to other humans. And also, gorillas aren't related to gorillas. That's what he has to cop to if he accepts the result of you et al. As the means by which we differentiate what evolution can do and what it can't. It's ridiculous.
And I just want to put a little cherry on top of this, because as this discourse was happening on Discovery Institute and YouTube and wherever, Casey put out in one of his bajillion articles on this, he went out of his way to say, by the way, I am not claiming that this number, this lower number, casts doubt on human-chimp common ancestry. I want to be clear, I'm not saying that. When like 3 articles earlier, he explicitly said that thing.
Right.
It was
and also
trying to claim he's not pointing this out for 2 months straight.
Doing that has been his raison d'etre for what, a decade now?
Yeah. It was transparently dishonest. It was
Didn't he just pivot
ridiculous.
to saying that scientists are just dishonest and that was his point?
He also said that they were hiding the data in the supplementals. Yeah.
Which is where you put the data.
He said that in Article 1, you guys. The very first one, he was like, and curious, this foundationally different figure that changes everything we thought we knew about human-chimpanzee genomic similarity is hidden away in the supplementary material. Now, I'm not saying anybody is hiding anything, but it
wink,
sure
wink,
is
nudge,
weird.
nudge.
Yeah, but it sure is weird that it's stashed away down there in the supplementary material. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you, dude, because one, that number, the range for those numbers, is in the main text.
Yeah.
I highlighted it in my video. It just is in the main text. Secondarily, Casey goes to the supplementary material, right? Specifically to get this number. And then he's like, I had to find it. It was tucked away in the supplementary material where no one would ever look for it. And then you guys...
Tell me you don't actually read papers without telling me you don't actually read papers.
Stepper, when he was busted for doctoring the figure, which I would call it doctoring because he reaffixed the x-axis, right? Like, to me, that's it's very hard to call it otherwise.
It wasn't just clipped off. It was re-put up there.
And he didn't say that that's what he did.
Right.
That's the other thing. Like, if you change a figure, you're allowed to do that, but you have to say what, this is an altered figure from you et al. Supplementary material, and it's a supplemental figure 12.
Sometimes it really is, extra data you don't care about. Like, if there had been, a bunch of stuff and Kalugos, who cares, right? Just cut that out.
I'm so sorry, but this is unbelievable that he said this, because after saying that they hid the data in the supplementary material to hide it, he told everybody else when he got caught doctoring that figure that he wasn't hiding anything. After all,
of course,
it can be seen in the supplementary material, which he linked.
Perfect.
I can say, so most people don't read scientific papers, right? But saying you hid the data in the supplementary materials is like saying you hid the bananas in the produce aisle. That's where it goes.
Yeah.
Isn't he a PhD geologist?
Yes, he's a PhD.
So he should know.
Oh, he
that.
absolutely knows that.
Yeah.
There's no way he doesn't.
No.
I'm actually more convinced at this point that Casey Luskin is being dishonest. And here's the thing. I don't think he knew at the beginning. I think that he was uninformed at the beginning. And I think once he found out, he couldn't admit that he was wrong. And so he doubled down, and now it has become a lie. I'm more convinced that Casey Luskin is lying on this than I am that Jeffrey Tompkins was lying about any of the stuff that Jeffrey Tompkins did. It is so transparent, and that's why I think this is the worst argument, because it's not an argument. He just doctored a figure. He just lied and docked the figure. He'd be worse behaved if someone else hadn't tried to kill or successfully killed somebody else, right? He'd be my worst behaved mom.
Have you considered that actually people wouldn't believe in evolution if everyone lied about it?
I don't know, man. Like it's so frustrating to me. And this is why, by the way, just in case anybody out there is still wondering, like, okay, what's the rub with the human chimp stuff? Here's the long story short. It doesn't matter how you compare genomes. Pick any method. If you compare the two genomes between a human and a chimpanzee, they are more similar to one another than either is to a gorilla. They're more similar to one another than rats are to mice. They're more similar to one another than lions are to tigers, or than African elephants are to Asian elephants. With that in mind, if all of those pairs are related, humans and chimps are. And we know this for a fact now because the new full genomes were published in 2025. And that's the only takeaway that you need from this. If you do Casey's method and you want to take that 85%, every other number lowers. And some pairs that everybody knows and accepts are related, such as gorillas, two other gorillas are going to dip lower than that, which is ridiculous. And everybody knows it is, which is why I think he omitted it intentionally.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We're going to read a few super chats here, and I do have a special shout out coming up. And then we're going to move on to the next nomination. So, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, it's hard to say who the dumbest creationist is. Also, metabolism is unnecessary for life. Also, I'm an expert in pre-Yiddish. Yeah, raw mat. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's raw mat. It's obviously raw mat.
It's hard to choose anyone else. My goodness.
It's like a lifetime achievement, Cambrian bunny.
Yeah,
but have you considered, though, that he's an ordained Essene?
He also thought you could... Never mind, we don't have to do the breatharian thing. Just...
The honey. Someone hasn't had their honey today, Dan.
Yeah, that's the deep lore. Everyone knows the breatharian stuff. No one knows the 30 days in the forest living on raw honey. That's
well, he was trying to do...
Only the real heads know about the raw honey.
He was trying to do the John the Baptist diet, which is locusts and honey. But apparently, like, he's a vegetarian, so he's like, well, I don't want to eat locusts because I'm a vegetarian. So you're just going to survive off of sugar. You're just going to eat sugar.
Me, when someone tells me that raw mat is a breatharian, and I'm like, don't cite the original magic to me, which I would
The deplorable elf for 100 Argentinian peso says, my brother once argued that if evolution is about always improving, it would create a species that didn't believe in it. I don't even know what to say. That sure is a thing that someone could say, I suppose. I don't even know what to do with that.
Yes, a perfect superior species wouldn't have a desire to know what the world is.
Apparently not. Jake Dapper Inside Joke Nelson for $20 says, I know how it works. Sorry, I know how it works, but this is $4 worth of appreciation on all 5 hosts. Ah, okay, there we go. Yes, thank you very much. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, they hit the citations in the footnotes. Exactly. How dare they? Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, move over, Beatles. He is fond of gorillas now. And then Goopdo3 for $5 says, the data was in the supplementary material. Fork found in kitchen. Exactly.
I just want to say, as like a last thing for Casey Luskin, I've talked to young Earth creationists, right, who watched my content on Casey because it was a little bit bombastic, where I don't call creationists liars a lot. And I was like,
yeah.
Casey Luskin is a liar. And so a lot of people who know of me and don't like me very much watch. I've talked to several different creationists who are like, yeah, I don't understand what Casey was on about that. Like, it's very clear that he was mistaken. And it's
I'm mistaken, yeah. The shout out I want to give is, I think people know that not too long ago, I took a little trip to go to a family wedding. And I want to say that my brother and his new wife are watching. And she just texted me a Trans Lives Matter GIF to my phone directly. So I want to say thank you very much. I love you both, and I hope that everything's going great out there. So just wanted to give that shout out, because you know what? My new sister-in-law is pretty cool. So, yeah. And I had alligator for the first time on that trip, because a different friend told me that I should get alligator, and I was like, yeah, sure, if it comes up, not expecting it to. My first meal after I got there, that was on the menu, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I have to. We're doing alligator. So I got alligator po' boy.
I'm from Florida. What did you think of it?
I mean, look, I had deep fried meat, so it was good.
That is fair.
Right.
They are basically chicken nuggets.
Yeah. So little chunks of deep fried alligator meat was great, because, I mean, it was meat and fat and batter and put in a po' boy. So, like...
hard to beat.
Right. All right. So our next nominator is Jordan. Jordan, who, according to you, had the worst argument among the creationists in 2025?
Well, those who have watched the award show for some time may have noticed a pattern. And so I believe after the first award, it's a kind of an inherent spoiler for the rest. So my
Very suspenseful.
worst argument goes to Speaker of the House and National Socialist Mike Johnson. And specifically, there are so many that you could pick, right? This man is a cornucopia of bad argumentation. But the specific one I'm choosing is his arguments that the Epstein files should not be released. And the reason
Oh my
is
god.
That he's in them?
Well, yes, but it was because this exists solely to protect pedos, including his boss, who is definitely in the files, and just like how desperately the arguments were. So it was things like, well, they shouldn't be released because we don't want to release the victims' names, even though this could be easily redacted, or we don't want to make innocent people's lives worse whose names are in the files. If your names are in the files, I don't give a shit. Like, right? We can't swear in this congressperson because she deserves the pomp and circumstance. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she's going to vote to release the Epstein files, right? So. So worst argument goes to Mike Johnson for protecting pedophiles in the Epstein list.
Dude, my dog could be in the Epstein files, and I would be like straight to the pound, right? Like
Yeah.
Straight to jail.
I can't. It's unbelievable.
My favorite is like, oh man, there's a whole bunch of prominent Democrats and they're going to get Bill Clinton. And I'm sitting here like, don't threaten me with a good time. We get to get rid of them too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What are you going to do when the Democrats are what happens if they get sent to jail? Good. Great. Put them under the jail.
Me to the establishment, the establishment Dems. Don't worry, milady. I've got this one. No one has ever said that, right? Like, not a single person under the age of 50 is out here just laying down their life on the line to save the establishment Dems. If you're in the Epstein house, I don't care who you are. You go to jail. Like,
literally nobody who's like, Nancy Pelosi, get down. What are you talking about?
Don't worry, Madam X Speaker of the House. I've got this.
Or like the image of the dude with the two katanas, like, leave the pedophiles alone.
Won't somebody think of the pedophiles?
And the answer is yes. And that's apparently the Republican Congress.
Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes, he is very concerned.
And also 6 billion Twitter users, by the way. Like, this is Mike Johnson and 6 billion Twitter users. And also, who was it? Was it Kellyanne Conway? No, it was Megyn Kelly, who was like, it's not like they were 8. Dude, it's not like they were 8. Come on. They were 15.
Yeah, they were 15.
It's
It's fine. It's fine, guys. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not like the best writer, speaker, just all around English language person. But can someone just give me a synonym for a person who is 15 years old? Is there another word we could use to tighten that up?
Child.
Child.
We might go with enfant if you're doing like French, or like maybe like niño or niña if we're doing Spanish. We could go for pook if we're doing Klingon. I know some Klingon.
Evidently, Nick Fuentes, notorious Catboy lover and blacklight detective, has come out recently, recently as in like today or yesterday, being like, well, actually, everyone was just like barely legal, so it's fine.
Oh,
like here's the thing, like, so I've heard them be like, oh, they were 14, so it's not pedophilia, it's hebophilia. And that is the kind of thing you cannot possibly say ironically.
That's a nice argument.
Like a
Please face the wall.
Yeah.
The jail is that way. Yeah.
It's actually very similar. It's a similar thing to what you see with the Israel-Palestine stuff, where it'll be like, poor, helpless IDF soldiers murdered by ruthless Palestinian thugs, and then it'll be like a Palestinian is no longer alive due to an explosion in the vicinity that was fired by.
Don't you remember all the
passive
burned out
voice
houses they found, where like it was like a child's bedroom, and clearly there was a sniper up there, so that's why it got mortared to hell, and there was a perfectly untouched, like not even a speck of dirt on it, copy of Mein Kampf in like some other language.
Yep. My favorite was this Palestinian hospital. We did bomb. Well, we didn't bomb it. It just blew up. Well, okay, we did bomb it, but it was an accident. Okay,
The hospital just did that.
Okay, we did bomb it, but it was actually a Hamas planning area. They had bases in the basement. And here's how you can tell. And you get a picture of a Palestinian woman pointing to some paper on the wall, but you zoom in and it's a calendar. And then they're like, no, that's not the evidence. This is the evidence. And then they give you a recording of some people speaking Arabic with Hebrew accents, talking about how they're going to blow up the Jews. And it's like, guys, we can hear the Hebrew accents. If you know if you're at all familiar with how Palestinian Arabic sounds and how Hebrew sounds, you can tell these are native Hebrew speakers who are just sounding out Arabic words. Like, what are you doing here? You couldn't find anyone with a better accent? And of course not.
Did you ever see the Whitest Kids You Know sketch? I think it's Whitest Kids You Know, where Trevor's talking about the bullets that the baby skull seeking bullets, and then he's like, okay, no, these need to be legal, because what if a bunch of bears with baby skull necklaces like come into our town and they're killing people, and then it's like, oh, we have the guns and they see out the baby skulls, and so that's how we beat them, right? Like, it's
Very
so
important.
stupid.
We have Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my water bottle. I'll be right back.
That's right. All right, so we have a few super chats. Hawkskull for £2 says, "Is anyone else getting deja vu? Oh, buckle in, because that's going to keep happening."
Yep.
We've got $4.99. Roshina says, "I'm catching up, but do all Archosaurs taste like chicken?" I haven't tasted one that didn't taste at least a little bit like chicken. I mean, like goose and duck and turkey don't all exactly taste like chicken, but they taste a lot more like chicken than they do like, like beef. But then again, ostrich tastes more like beef than it does like chicken, so I guess the answer is technically no. So there you go. In fact, actually, I would recommend red wine pairings if you're going to have ostrich, because ostrich really does taste a lot like red meat, and it looks a lot like red meat. It's red meat. Just like you would think the pigs, being a mammal, would be red meat, but actually, no. It turns out it's a white meat, and you should probably pair it with white wines. All right, so I think that is good for Jordan, unless you got anything else.
I think, small correction there. I think you pair them with White Claws.
Right. Erica's got that covered.
Yeah, okay.
Look at me, I'm stumbling over my words. You know how these 5%ers get me. These raspberry White Claws just put me on the floor, dude.
I've got some
one of them, and I'm drunk.
Black cherry is superior. I don't know what you're doing.
Ooh.
Dude, I switched up the variety packs. I gotta mix it up. I need and Luke usually picks them up, and so we're on like a 1-3-2 sort of cycle, So I'm on the, what is this? I think this is the 3. They change the flavors around too. Don't even get me started on that. Anyways,
I have
next? Is it Dan or Colton?
Well, I want to say I have some apple mango cider with added lime, and lime was added to the brew, but it's quite good. Although it's a little on the sweet side, but you know what? It's tart enough that I don't mind. All right. So next up is gonna be Colton. Colton, who do you think had the worst argument of any creationist in 2025, and why do you think it's the worst argument? What is that argument?
Well, I have to say, Dan, I think you were the one who tagged me in it when he first started posting these videos. It's Brian from Apologetics 101, specifically his heat problem solution, which, I'm not kidding, was entirely written by ChatGPT.
And this, it is approximately the length of the extended version of the complete Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yes. And this was
he's got that
so
super,
funny to me because he is
top tier
so
subscription.
confident. He is so confident in this solution that he can't get Donnie on board with. He can't get any pros on board with. And I know that because David Winsberg, who's also trying to solve the heat problem, on every single video he's put out, showed up in his comments and said, dude, what are you talking about? The interior of the Earth does not work how you're describing. And ChatGPT is giving you fake equations, nonsense equations. One of your equations has a little tilde in there instead of an actual mathematical thing. And all Brian would say is, okay, sure, ChatGPT screwed it up, but trust me, bro, my model can work with any numbers. There is no way that it can be wrong.
That's what we call an unfalsifiable model, which means that it's not scientific. We throw those out.
But it can't be proven wrong, right?
So
At that point, just say it was ghosts. Ghosts lifted up the heat and took it into the sky. Just why not?
Well, to be clear, what his model is, because I had a short back and forth with him, and then he made a video that I will not watch unless he pays me a substantial sum of money. But he made like a 90-minute video about like the paragraph that I wrote.
Yes.
And I was just like, I was literally just saying, I want to be clear. The heat starts here, and then it goes there, and then it goes there. Like, I was just trying to, like, have a mental map of, like, where the heat flows. And as best I can understand it, because we all understand it has to start with the crust. Between the movement and the accelerated decay, the heat has to start with the crust. And the point is it has to get out to space somehow. And in his model, the first thing that happens is it gets absorbed by the mantle fast enough to not vaporize the crust. And then it goes through the crust and through the water without heating either of them up.
Amazing.
And then it goes into space.
So
like,
does this involve
lots of volcanoes were involved in it.
Wait, I have an idea. We can combine this with one of the key aspects from Dave McQueen, right? Because his thing was tubes. What if they're aerogel tubes, which have basically no heat transfer through them, and they're sticking from the mantle all the way to space, and then the lava goes through the tube with capillary action
There is
off
nothing
into
but
space.
stacked space shuttles all the way to the core and then back in perfect circuits.
But in a tube, yeah. There we go. See, problem solved.
I'm tempted to like try to apply some thermodynamics to this.
David Winsberg, God bless this man, like sat down and like redid his numbers and said, "This is incoherent. What are you talking about?" And Brian just kept saying, "Well, okay, but when I have ChatGPT fix it for me, it's all gonna work out no matter what." And David and like 3 other people, I think all of them were creationists, were all saying, "Why are you asking AI to do this for you?" And he kept saying, well, if you can use like a spell checker, you can use AI to do your thinking for you.
Those are not at all the same thing.
Can I just say,
what are we doing, dude?
over on the Debate Evolution subreddit and on the Creation subreddit, this same thing played out. Not with the heat problem, but it played out with creationists having AI write their articles and being like, look, AI says it's feasible, so it is. And so a mutual friend of all of ours was like, okay. And so they hopped on chat, and they're approved in r/creation, and I am not. So just in case, I'm still a little salty about that. I've never been approved to post on r/creation, but that's fine.
I got approved recently.
Nice.
I'm so jealous.
Oh, they also banned AI posts.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Good on them.
Colton, the reason they banned AI posts is because our mutual friend was like, dear creationists, you can't actually use AI because here I'm going to use AI to prove that leprechauns are real. And then they just put that into ChatGPT, and then they pasted that and put it into a post. Of course, ChatGPT made up a million different sources, like et cetera, et cetera. And so the mods of r/creation were like, okay, now I see the problem. And then they're like, okay, no more AI posts because clearly it's making shit up. Brian is just in like the bar's on the floor. Brian is in hell with this kind of stuff. Like he's just like, I do not care about that. But he doesn't even know Brian doesn't know the question he's asking. He doesn't know how to read the results. He doesn't know how to search for any sources. I'm not even sure he could spell the word thermodynamics, if I'm being completely honest.
He might be a thermal dynamics guy. I've heard
Why
that
would
from
he
a
do
few
that? He can just
creationists.
ask ChatGPT to spell it for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Also,
he like writes it phonetically, and then he's like, "What word is this?"
and Brian, this is just a broad sort of tip. If you ever watch this, you should increase the distance between your face and your webcam.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Yes, doesn't
literally
need to be
Dapper. It is like a Ren and Stimpy SpongeBob scary frame close up every time.
Look,
he's like this. He's so close to the camera.
The
Brian,
picture I got from him, I could not find a picture that included his entire head in frame. Part of his head is always out of frame. Brian, back up just a little. I get that your computer might be like up against like a wall. Like my desk can't really be moved, right? Because it's like in a corner. So you push the chair back. And if your room is so small that your chair is backed up against one wall and your desk is backed against another wall and you're that close, buy a fisheye lens.
I just like it, anybody is gonna look freaky if they're 2 inches from the camera, right? So like
I'm not making fun of your appearance. It's the framing. Anyone will look weird if you zoom in on their nose. Exactly. Right? Like,
I'm glad someone did it. I knew someone was gonna. We were all kind of playing
I was
chicken of who
tempted.
was gonna. Yeah.
Jordan, you need to get really close and tell us why the Shradaturin is fake.
I'm gonna have
And you have to
ChatGPT do it.
And you have to take 3 hours to do it.
there we go.
You know, I'm pretty sure I saw somebody in his comments like ask ChatGPT to refute his model, and then he like lost it, being like, "Well, your ChatGPT isn't like smart enough to know the intricacies of my model. Only what's running on my computer can do it."
Oh,
My dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah.
Literally, my dad works for Nintendo, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, so Dan, you had this video a while back, not even a while back, like 2 weeks ago, where you were like, "Hey, you know, if you're not up to the task of learning about this stuff, then you shouldn't be debating it."
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. And to be clear, there are several specific people I was subtweeting with that video. No, I will not name them. But if it's you, you can probably figure it out.
You need to know what you're talking about to have a conversation about it. That goes for every field, everywhere on the planet without exceptions. Don't talk about shit that you have no idea about. It makes you look bad, and it makes the subject look bad, and it makes your side look bad. This is Brian with every topic that I have even a little bit of an understanding of here on YouTube. I can't speak to the physics stuff. Maybe he's a total genius in that.
Yeah, maybe.
Can speak on that. But when he ventures into my area, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You've got to do a little bit of homework. No one is saying that you can't have a conversation about it, but you've got to be want to back it up. And ChatGPT is not how you do that. Friendly advice.
Yeah.
And look, you know what? I just want to say it. Look, it wasn't like heavy uranium, so it could be worse.
Old uranium, I think you mean. The old uranium is heavier, and so it sinks further.
So it sinks further.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why
You know what?
It's
You know
had
what, Dan?
longer to sink.
No, this is
It's,
the same
right.
thing with
It's-
this is with the Donnie thumbnails. It's the same concept. I prefer my nonsense homegrown. At least Ron Matt came up with that himself.
Right.
Right.
That's
Ron Matt
The bespoke nonsense, the
he got on
artisanal
camera and he was
pseudoscience.
like, I don't understand. Heavy go down, right? and like that was his own thing. That's better than Brian using ChatGPT. ChatGPT didn't tell Ramat that. Ramat noodled that out himself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's a good
with
point.
that one brain cell that's struggling to keep on going. Metageeky Platypus for $5 says, and the heat from the tube slows the giant ice comet enough that it cools the oceans without adding kinetic energy to the Earth. Brilliant! Yeah, that's a good one. Have you heard?
You know,
this one?
I will say this. I have only heard one heat problem solution worse than this, and it was from somebody who is no longer an active creation like Reddit participant, because as far as I can tell, he gave up on that to become a passport bro, which is its own saga in and of itself.
Okay.
But he was
think I know what you're
legitimately
talking
trying to argue that because the non-canonical Book of Enoch said the floodwaters were cold, that means there was no heat problem.
Well, there you go. The problem solved.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't care how cold you could. I think I might have set the water to absolute zero one time just for fun.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's such.
You're still generating too much
The
heat,
thing
though.
is, like, okay, so water on Earth in the oceans, you can assume it's actually like a couple degrees like Celsius, which is nothing compared to the amount of heat that we're adding in terms of getting it to the boiling point. Like, it just doesn't matter that much. But also, my favorite argument about this, which is what Metageeky was referencing, is that Ken thinks that the reason there was an ice age is because a super cold comet came in towards Earth, broke up, and then hit at both poles, flash freezing everything at moderate to high latitudes, because Kent Hovind doesn't know what heat is. He thinks that cold is a thing that you can just transfer to things. And he does not realize that all that does is it means that you didn't transfer any thermal energy to Earth, but you still transferred all the kinetic energy. And where does that kinetic energy go to, ultimately? It's thermal energy. It heats up the Earth. It doesn't matter how cold the comet is.
Is that related to the flash frozen mammoths thing?
It sure as hell is.
Because that has
Amazing.
always confused me, because the mammoths are stratigraphically, a big word for him, above like everything else that the flood buried, and that's why creationists
Colton,
like Michael Ord and everyone else say that they came.
You got to
after.
remember, Kent rejects all of Steno's laws. All of them.
Oh, right, because a flume experiment in the 80s revealed what we'd known since the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We all know this, and they all know this too. But like, there's a big, long. You can make a little tape measure and pull it out, and this is the flood model. Pick any flood model; it doesn't matter. It's every single one of them. For every one of those flood models, at some point, at some tick mark on that tape measure, there's a miracle. It doesn't matter. Either the miracle starts the flood, either it cools everything off. Sometimes it accelerates the nuclear decay. Sometimes it helps sort the stratigraphy or the stratigraphy itself, right? Like whatever. It does actually. I don't even know if anybody's ever been goofy enough to propose that. But like the miracles are doing a lot of different things in a lot of different flood models.
Solution.
I've never seen one with none.
God created the floodwaters, right? Like he sent them.
Yeah.
It was holy water. So it just did the things.
There you go. All right. Okay, but counterpoint. Just recently, most like Eastern Christian groups, and then in a few days, the rest of them are going to be blessing the oceans as a whole, and that's not doing anything to like help with like climate change or like ocean acidification or any of those things. So like,
Not
I
with
don't
that
know.
attitude, loser.
All right. So what we got to do is we got to find all the Eastern Christian priests and be like, guys, you got to do better at the blessings of all these bodies of water. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Which, by the way, it is the 10th day of Old Calendar Christmas. So for all my like Slavic or Old Calendar Greek Christians, Merry Christmas. Because it is still Christmas in Russia. And that
We're
just
also
killed
losing
everything.
A war, but yeah.
Well, you know what? Look, the Russian military
keep your
is
politics
losing.
out of science.
No.
The Russian military is losing a war. Random ass people in Russia are not losing a war because random ass people in Russia are not all fighting a war. They're just trying to live their lives.
They're getting drafted in pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
Not yet. They're not.
All right. So I think that is it for Brian from Apologetics 101. Unless Colton, you have anything else you want to add about that? All right,
it.
Dan, we're on to you. Who is your pick for the person who gave the worst argument? What is the argument, and why is it so horrible?
The worst argument comes to us. I feel like a lot of mine come as the result of these like months-long sagas that happen on the internet, and this is no different. So my nominee for worst argument of 2025 was Dr. Rob Stadler. If you want to know what kind of doctor, it starts with an E and ends with engineering. So you know where this is going. And he and Dr. James Torr, neither of whom are definitely young Earth creationists. They're not gonna talk about that.
How do they have all the room for their clothes in their closet when they're already in there?
They did this stream about evolution stuff, and myself and Erica and Professor Dave responded. They responded to us. We responded back to them. Whole thing. This culminated with me and Erica, for some reason, spending 2.5 hours going line by line through a paper on common ancestry.
More than one paper, by the way.
More than one paper, because there were two that it was referencing for the statistical... right, so it was 3 papers, and we were, like, really going through it. And that led... At that point, Stadler was like, I'm done with this conversation. But he couldn't help himself, and he kept commenting in the comments of my videos. So we spent, no joke, 2 weeks back and forth in the comments, and it was all of me just trying to get him to... Rob, which of these arguments are you making? Is it this or is it this? Is this possible or not? And ultimately, what I got him to finally acknowledge, because he was making a common design argument, what I got him to acknowledge was that there is no present pattern of similarity that would be incompatible with common design, because God could have made it any which way to result in the observed pattern. That is an unfalsifiable argument that is indistinguishable from last Thursdayism.
Yep.
That is it. So common design equals last Thursdayism. Rob Stadler, I got him dead to rights. The specific thing was, I said, is there in principle a configuration that you could observe today that could not have resulted from separate creation? And he said, no.
So why don't you tell people real quick what last Thursdayism is? Because I don't know if everyone is on board.
It is the idea that the creator, because Rob's foreshadowing for another one, Rob Stadler claims to not be a young Earth creationist despite using every young Earth creationist, not just argument, but also like directly cribbing young Earth figures from AIG, like straight up. But he claims to not be young Earth creationist. But if you posit that God could create things in a certain way with the appearance of age, right? Starlight en route between stars, a navel, for example, in Adam and Eve, right? Even though there was no umbilical cord, right? That kind of stuff. There is nothing different between that argument and saying God created everything last Thursday with built-in memories, so it's all just a few days old, and it's all an illusion, right? There's no difference between those things. So
Prove it's not.
yeah, prove it. So Stadler's making a last Thursdayism argument here, which it was just an incredible admission after literal months back and forth. He finally admitted that that's what he was doing directly, and that is my nominee for worst argument of 2025.
Dan, can I just this needs to be backlit with the James Tour stuff. Because James Tour has been saying and I don't, abiogenesis isn't my area. I dip a toe in it every now and again, and it's a little over my head. But James Tour, I've seen enough of his abiogenesis stuff to know that his whole thing is that he's like, I believe this for a scientific reason, not a religious one. I don't think scientifically that you can show any support for origin of life. Whatever. I don't think that's true, but that's the position.
Yeah,
that he
that's
holds.
not true.
And
You know what I always-
the same. Go ahead, Cole.
The only thing I find weird about that is I know next to nothing about biology. I never think about abiogenesis, much less talk about it. But I've seen a few of his videos where he has consistently tried to defend that his position is that one day we likely will have a plausible pathway.
Oh,
so
that's
he's
nice.
he's trying to he's just saying we don't have it now, and he's criticizing people for like over popularizing their half-baked ideas. But if you're a creationist and you're sitting here and you're trying to defend that there will never be a solution to this, and your guy is saying, well, I'm just criticizing the current ideas, and I think we're a long way off, but we'll probably get there one day, then what's the point?
I think Tor, I'm pretty sure he's just doing a Mott and Bailey sort of thing there.
Absolutely.
He's just doing it so that he will sound more reasonable.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Listen to the talks he gives in churches to congregations where he does not have to be careful about hedging his bet on what he's saying.
Yep.
It's a completely different tenor and a completely different conclusion. His fans get the message that we have absolutely no idea about how anything to do with abiogenesis could even possibly work, and that specifically, he uses the words, they are lying to you, and they are origin of life researchers. He doesn't say that when he's at like a Harvard dinner, but when he's in front of a congregation behind a pulpit, he sure as hell does, and that's a direct quote when I said, they're lying to you. He yells it, he screams it at people because he's a screamer.
Yeah.
I'm like putting all that aside though, right? Like put all that aside. His claim is that he believes it for scientific reasons. Then he comes on and he says, I don't talk about evolution. I don't talk about age of the earth. And the reason I don't talk about it is because I don't have the scientific background to do so, which is why he says, I'm bringing on my friend Rob Stadler, who can talk about this kind of stuff from a scientific perspective. That's how this is framed. Stadler comes on, and that's what kicks all of this off. And then 4 to 6 months later, we have Stadler saying, nope, there's no scientific way to actually falsify my hypothesis.
Yeah.
So what the hell are we talking about, James? Like, Dr. Tor, his whole thing is shattered by Stadler's position here, which is completely scientifically indefensible. And whatever, if you want to have a non-scientifically defensible perspective, you're entitled to do that. That's fine. But you don't get to do that and then say that your perspective actually is scientific. Like, especially if you're coming it from someone else, that was the cherry on top of the Stadler thing. It was how it backlit all of the James Tor stuff that was lending legitimacy, at least in the perspective of his fans, to Tor.
And just to be clear, he was also wrong about Stadler, we're talking about here, was also wrong about everything else. Like,
well, of course.
about the methodology in that paper, he, like, repeatedly for literally 6 weeks would lift this one line out of it, misinterpret it, because he doesn't understand the methods. And then finally, when I did this analogy with like playing card hands and swapping the cards around, there's like, oh, but then he changed his thing. And it was like, so it's a clarification. They love that word, don't they? Clarification. No, that's a different argument now. It's not a clarification. God
Dan, and I'm going to speak for myself here, right? I've whiffed stuff here on YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
Because that happens. Like you get stuff wrong. And when I get stuff wrong, it makes me feel like a moron and it makes me feel irresponsible, especially because I put that out there to other people, which is why I come on and self-flagellate, like I'm like, oh my God, I was so wrong. I make a big show of it because I don't want anybody to miss the point and then accidentally continue repeating that wrong information. Because that's what you're supposed to do when you're incorrect, right? Is that you correct yourself and then you don't do it again. This is not the attitude that we saw from Statler. Statler rolled up and he was like, well, after, mind you, completely adopting Dan's explanation, which was running contra to his previous explanation. He comes on and he's like, well, to clarify, I'm going to completely change my mind about this.
To clarify.
Clarification. That's changing your mind.
Erica, are you saying you repent for things more than self-proclaimed Christians?
I'm saying,
Wow.
brother, I take my ass to confession. And confession is my YouTube chat, right? I'm like, I'll say,
Erica, you got to say 50 Hail
Darwin.
Darwins.
Yeah, right.
We got a few super chats. Templar Warden for 5 Kiwi bucks says, obviously, the heat problem is solved on a flat Earth. You can just take into account the cooling effect of the moon's light. Oh yes, I forgot about the cool moonlight.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we that's
they got us on that one.
Yep. Let's see. Cotton Candy Wolf, who's been a member for 1 month and is at the annual level, says, Kenthoven, any argument, next question. I mean, that is compelling, but my only counter is Kenthoven hasn't made any new arguments in 2025 or at any point in the last 15 years or so.
Hey, Dapper, can I make a suggestion for the next year's Bunny Awards? Can you have, biggest time waster as one? Because that seems to be a running theme the longer we do these.
So you can absolutely make that suggestion, but you're going to have to make it at a time when I'll actually be able to, remember it in time for setting this up.
So next December.
Yeah, next December.
Yeah, I'll put it in my calendar.
Okay.
We may, depending on how the midterms go, we may be a little bit busy, but, we'll see.
You think midterms. That's funny.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, the heat transfers from the hub of the disk through the world elephants and is then radiated into space through the turtle's cloaca, which moves. That is another very convincing flat Earth argument.
Listen, I can improve that one. Turtles are cold-blooded. That's where the heat went. He needed to get
yeah. So what I think really what we're saying is that if you take the miracles and move them from just the flood to the shape of the Earth, you can solve the heat problem without miracles. So there you go. Just creationists.
You guys ever
go
think
harder into flat Earth.
You guys ever think about how one of these days we're going to do one of these shows and Kenthoven is going to be in our memoriam, right? He's not going to live forever. And the creationist world will feel those ripples, whether they know it or not.
Depending on how close the two events are, I might be hoping for that one.
I know.
I was actually asked, are you going to stop Kent with Bent when Kent Hovind dies? I was like, no, why would I do that? And it's like, well, you respect for the dead. And it's like, I don't respect him while he's alive. Why the fuck would I respect him while he's dead?
I wouldn't mourn any person who beats their wife, right? Shelters pedophiles at their weird commune, right? I just don't.
Hey, get those super chats in because we're not getting monetized on this stream.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
It's okay. It's not a big deal. All right. So that is it for worst arguments. So our nominees, you can vote right now for worst argument with Casey Luskin, Mike Johnson, Brian from Apologetics 101, who I just have listed as Apologetics 101, or Rob Stadler. And our next... sorry.
Hey, Dapper, before we get to the next one, I just want to say, for when we do the honorable mentions, there were so many snubs in that category.
Oh, so many.
It was just an embarrassment of riches this year.
Yep.
The stuff that creationists put out into the world, it's amazing. We need a panel twice the size to get everyone possible. It was amazing.
And unfortunately, I can only do four choices for eight.
Yeah.
Do you guys see the stuff sometimes where you get the comments where somebody will be like, but creationists haven't said anything new in so long, so how are you going to, what are you going to talk about?
Oh, they
eventually
have.
You're gonna run out of stuff. Never. You will never run out of stuff because they're it's like a deck of cards. There's 52 of them in a near infinite way to shuffle them together, right? You're so right, Dan. It, as Donnie likes to say, it's a great time to be dogging on younger creationists.
It's a great time. It's never been a better time to be a young
Never been a better
creationist.
time.
Oh man.
For $10, Grievous says, monetization fund. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. So our next category is worst use of the English language. Now, I have had arguments that I should just move this up to worst use of language, but here's the thing. This is a primarily English language channel. My panel members are all L1 English speakers, and I'm pretty sure most of them aren't. Are any of you conversational in any other languages?
I'm a little bit in German.
Okay, so we've got like some low-level proficiency in one other language, so really, the panel is not super well equipped to like pick out the worst use of Japanese or something.
Oh, I'm a
So,
little
like-
bit conversationalist and not V2, but that's fake. So
You know what, Mr. Wilford, we need to have a debate. Which one's better, Klingon or Na'vi?
don't get me started.
No, don't get them started, please.
No, that's an idea
No,
for a
there was
different
just
day.
a little peek behind the curtain in the planning chat for this show. At one point, Dapper pops in and goes, "I leave for 10 minutes. There's 60 comments."
Yeah, okay,
And-
okay. That's not
and-
fair, because that was about Baldur's Gate 3, which is a different. That's
That
a
was
No,
also-
I thought that
also
was
my
the
fault.
no. I thought that was the Avatar thing. Was no. Oh,
No,
it was
that was the
Baldur's
other
Gate.
chat.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it was
different
primarily
thing.
Baldur's
Sorry,
Gate,
sorry.
yeah.
That's on me. Sorry.
It's another nerd thing, and I'm sure that there could be 63 comments about the language
Yeah.
from the Avatar movies.
There was conversation about something from the Avatar movies, but it wasn't the language.
A Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, I speak fluent sarcasm. Nice. All right, so yes, we're sticking to English. Also, the vast majority of creationist output is in English anyway. So, I actually went through and was like, what's Spanish-speaking creationist YouTube up to? And the answer is whatever English-speaking creationist YouTube was up to 10 years ago. Literally, that's it. I went
Arabic
through...
speaking creationist, same thing. It's just the same arguments over again.
But also Nathaniel Jeanson, because for some reason his channel is now half in Arabic.
It's weird. It's weird.
You know what? I am fine with it. If you look, I appreciate people trying to reach out to different linguistic communities. As a language enthusiast who is not a linguist, Erica.
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Dapper. I know.
Well,
After many years, I've
Back to
learned-
confession for you.
We just need to have not a linguist, not a geneticist, not a da, and then when we get to Jordan, it's just engineer,
yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, so if it was like D&D class perks, right? Like engineer just gets like a bonus to every other category, right?
well,
like they're buffed.
But it's only a +1.
The engineer
Yeah,
gets the
well-
jack of all trades feature from Bard.
There
where
you go.
They get half proficiency in all skills.
Okay. Okay, we got
But they also get the confidence boost where they think they have twice the proficiency in all the skills.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Not you, Jordan, not you, but all the other engineers.
Yeah, not you. You're different. You're
Yeah, I'm one of the good ones.
one of the guys gonna make
Hashtag not all engineers.
not all engineers.
okay,
All
we have a-
engineers matter. All careers matter.
We have a
Great.
couple
Salem
more
Gate is started.
super chats. Origami Swami for $10 says, my personal favorite bad argument was if evolution were true, there would be a written record of it from one of Dapper's reaction streams. Yeah, that was the thing that came up. Was why didn't anyone write this stuff down if it was all evolving all this time? It's like who would have done that?
Damn.
The
gods.
worms?
On that one,
The
damn.
Adapids? Did the
gods.
Adapids? Why didn't the Adapids create written language, Erica? Come on, you're the primatologist.
I think because they're diurnal, so they were spending all their time trying to get while the getting was good. They didn't have time to use their little tiny thumbs to do anything else.
Okay.
The nocturnal ones, the Omomaids wouldn't do much better, but you know, they
Grievous,
spend more time hold up.
We're
I
gonna be here
guess.
all night.
possibly. Grievous for $5 says, get them started. Well, okay, on a different stream, perhaps. All right, so we're starting with Dan. Dan, who is your choice for worst use of the English language in 2025 by a creationist, and what was this use?
So I was conflicted because there's two really good ones for this, and I went with what I think is the better one because we have direct on video contradiction. So my nominee is the same as my last nominee. It's Dr. Rob Stadler again for in one of his shows with James Torr saying we were being mean to him
Oh,
by claiming that his argument was that you literally need to see something evolve to have confidence that it evolves. And I'm not saying you literally need to see it evolve in order to have evidence of it evolving. And then literally a month later, he says, in order to have high confidence of bacteria evolving into mammals, you would need to actually watch the prokaryote evolve into the eukaryote, the multicellular, like you would have to literally in a lab see it happen. So the worst use of the English language is Dr. Rob Stadler. I'm not saying you need to literally see evolution happen with your eyes to know it happened, but you need to literally see evolution happen with your eyes to know that evolution happened.
Well, I have bad news for him. God gave me the playback in a dream of human evolution. So
There you go.
I have
right.
essentially seen it happen firsthand.
Yeah.
You actually can't beat that. Divine revelation is the trump card.
Like what's he gonna say?
What
What
he
God doesn't talk to people in dreams? Yeah, that sucks for you, doesn't it?
Oh my god. He's like, I did that. He slick for that one. I didn't think of it. Dan, I love too that Rob was so keen to go back and forth, and then radio silence. Like,
Done.
where is he?
He just
Where
did a
is
video with Tor. He just did like an hour-and-a-half video like last week.
Wait, about what? Not
About how long-term evolution experiments don't support evolution.
Oh, Lenski?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why are we still on Lenski?
I don't know,
I
because
can tell you why.
Lenski is directional and then stabilizing and purifying selection.
Yeah, it shows
you wouldn't expect
everything.
novelty.
Like,
It's
listen, I have been in this space since I was like 14, and I have never seen people on the pro-evolution side like seriously dig their heels in or get like in depth about the Lenski experiment from like a common layman perspective. There are like most people go to fossils or something else. They like who's talking about this?
So here's what I think it is. First, there are a few people that talk about it. I mention it every once in a while. But I think the thing is that the Lenski long-term evolution experiment has demonstrated virtually every single aspect about evolution that creationists say can't happen. It's demonstrated the evolution of irreducibly complex systems. It's demonstrated stabilizing selection. It's demonstrated ultimately speciation because the CIT plus strain do
That
not
is a
match the definition for E. coli.
Yep, that's a diagnostic right. The lack of aerobic citrate metabolism is a diagnostic criterion for E. coli. Yeah.
Right. It's demonstrated that, I mean, genetic entropy is just complete bullshit.
Right.
Well, it just doesn't happen to bacteria. God, don't you read
okay.
creationist articles?
But that's the thing.
Oh,
That's
so
why they
true.
have to talk about it, is because,
But it does happen to influenza virus, Colton.
but not mice.
So HIV, no. Influenza, yes. E. coli, no. Mice, no. Humans, yes.
that
Okay.
perfect makes perfect sense.
I realize I'm risking adding something else to my calendar, which is already bloated. But
Uh-oh.
do we want to poke Stadler and Tor again and like bust
We
their
should.
chops?
Yeah,
Let's
I'd be
do
down.
it.
Let's do it.
I think let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's piss them off. Okay,
Let's do it.
that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Let's
All
let that
right,
one
who's
go.
next?
Well, we got a few things to read up. Roshina for $4.99 says, "Well, modern young Earth creationist is an American creation, and they speak American." That's broadly true. Yeah.
I'll be back.
Like there is Spanish language young Earth creationism. I do know that, and I know there is. You can find some stuff in like some of the Nordic languages, and I think in German. I don't know. I know there is some in Portuguese because I've read some Portuguese creationist stuff. I can't listen to Portuguese creationist stuff, but I can read some of it. So there's that. So like it happens in other languages, but yeah, it's almost entirely English. And the only people who are really putting out a lot of new stuff in creationism are doing it in English. Stephen Clinner for $2 says, "Can't spell geek without EE." That's true. Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, "I nominate Coelacanth." Yeah. So, in my Dapper Reacts, which is my Saturday show, we had a guy who was trying to read off the scientific names of various organisms. He got to the coelacanth and he said coelacanth, and I'm like, "Yep,
Oh,
RC coelacanth, gotta love it."
Yum.
Yeah, that was those guys in general were just really bad, and like I'm pretty loose with when it's like whether I am going to tell people to like correct their pronunciation of like paleontology stuff, because it's like, look, a lot of it's really hard. But my minimum requirement is look at the word, sound it out, and give every consonant or consonant cluster and every vowel a reasonable pronunciation for whatever your native language is. And as long as you do that, I'm good. But once you start deleting letters or adding in extra syllables, I'm like, bro, go back. Try
Listen,
again.
I won't dog on people for mispronouncing things because I spent 3 of my 4 undergrad years pronouncing breccia as breccia. I have no excuse to dog on people for that.
For my rules, you would get a pass on that because you gave every single letter was used, and you gave a reasonable interpretation for each one. So you're good on that one. But if you were like Brecolia, then I'd be like, what the hell? Where'd you get Olia from?
Okay, Dapper, you can get me for this because I thought hallucinogenia was hallucinogenia.
Okay,
and
yeah,
I have
I'd call
said
you on
that
that.
many times here on YouTube, and it was not until very recently that I was like,
Oh no.
Oh no.
Stephen Clinard for $2 says you need to spiritually see evolution happen. Oh, so it's like when you see the golden plates from the Book of Mormon, you see it with your spiritual eyes. That's what Colton did. He saw the evolution with his spiritual eyes.
Exactly.
Okay.
I may have also been on like 20 milligrams of THC, but
man, that's a lot more than I do. That actually reminds me. My parents visited the area a few years ago, and when I got to see them, my dad was high as a kite.
That's good for them.
Right.
Good for them.
And so the next day I show up and they're just hanging out at a local resort, and I'm hanging out there too because I'm gonna visit the family. And I took a lift in and I showed up, not that high, but I was a little high. And my mom notices that I'm acting a little different. She's like, what's going on? I was like, oh, I'm just high. And she's like, damn. I'm like, Mom, I showed up and Dad was high off of his balls yesterday. You do not get to criticize me today. Nope. So, anyway, there's a little bit of the Dapper family drama right there. My mom likes to try to take these like moral high grounds, and I'm like, excuse me, let me remind you.
Parents are people too. You gotta get their go sometimes.
Look, you know what?
Confirm.
Given the reasons that I know my dad's getting high, I'm very happy he's doing it. Stephen G. Clinard for $2 says, let's just call them paleo experts. Oh
my God. Okay, just, not for nothing, but Chris Roop wrote that book. And then he was like, I know that I've done all this work. The work, by the way, that John Sanford said was equivalent to the work of a PhD. Nope. I read that book. I'm doing a PhD right now. That is not true. And then he was like, you know what? With all this expertise that I've gotten about hominins, I'm going to get a geology degree. And to me, that's all you need to know about creationists dealing with hominids. It's too much. Too spooky, scary.
Roshna for $1.99 says, should you make a fish sauce soda or seltzer? Well, first, yes, you absolutely can. I have more than one kind of water-soluble fish sauce, and I am sure that I could mix it. I could either mix it with seltzer water, or I could like reduce it down and then use it on like a soda stream type thing. Like that's absolutely possible. Should you? I mean, I guess it depends on your goal. Is your goal to gross out whoever drinks this? Then yeah, go for it. Is your goal to make a tasty beverage?
Heard the term mortal sin?
Yeah, well, I believe Roshna has, yes. But yeah, also I found out last night that nacho cheese Doritos liquor is a thing that exists.
Oh my God. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We spent so long wondering if we could. We never stopped to wonder if we could.
Yeah, that's the dwarves delve too deeply and too greedily.
Yep. And by the way, this came up in my DMs with Chesh, so you all have Chesh to thank for alerting you to the existence of nacho cheese Dorito.
Was she drinking it?
No, she was not.
What if you
crimes against God and man, straight to the Hague?
I would take straight absinthe over that.
What if you combined the nacho cheese Dorito alcohol with Mountain Dew Doritos?
Ooh. Okay, no, how about this, right? This actually I think could work.
We need to stop.
Put it in a Bloody Mary.
I'm good.
Put it in a Bloody Mary.
No, Dapper.
Okay, fine.
Who are we up to?
We're up to Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, the gibbon needs to roll for psychic damage on paleo experts. True. Erica, you got a D20 handy?
I've got a D20. No, not in here.
Oh, okay, I'll do it for you. I got like 12 of them handy.
Well, I'm rolling disadvantage on this.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Because the
Minus
first
three.
roll was an 18, but here's my next roll. Oh,
Yeah, I know.
it was a 1. I rolled
Yeah,
an 18 and a
that
1.
That
Rough.
one, I'm KO'd, dude.
Yeah,
Oh.
full damage on that saving throw. All right, we are up to. So normally it would be Colton next, but Colton decided to abdicate his responsibility for picking the worst use of the English language.
I will say this.
Okay,
I think I agree with Erica on her choice.
that's fair. But our next one then is Jordan. Jordan, who do you think had the worst use of the English language among creationists in 2025, and what is that use?
So I hope
Go-
that this doesn't throw you for a loop, because I haven't changed my person, but I've changed the use.
Okay,
I've changed the thing.
that's fine.
As I was thinking about as we're sitting here. So obviously my nominee is Speaker of the House and National Socialist Mike Johnson.
Right.
The specific use of the English language is for calling the public execution of Renee Good by murderous Nazi thug Jonathan Ross self-defense, because in Johnson's mind, being in the vicinity of a car moving at like Austin Power speeds is an imminent threat to your life. Yeah.
Man, wouldn't it be a shame if people decided that that was a reasonable thing to do with ICE vehicles that were moving towards them at a snail's pace?
Right. Yeah. So the thing that you're forgetting there is shut up. I think that's the critical
The
piece
juries
you're
might.
forgetting.
Are you
the
guys
juries might
ready?
not forget.
True.
Are you guys ready for them to roll out like the images of him in the hospital, and it's just the image of the guy from SpongeBob that's like, I had glass bones and paper skin.
Paper, every morning he breaks his legs, and every afternoon he breaks his arms. Every night he cries himself to sleep until the heart attacks finally put him on. All right, I think that's a good one. Yeah, I don't have anything to add on that, Jordan.
No, it's
pretty bad.
It's an insanely dumb take that, like, it is easier to assume that that is just Mike Johnson doesn't understand how words work than to think that that is a thing he thinks is a reasonable thing that people would take on board and believe.
Or what officers are like trained to
Obviously
do
it's
in
just lying.
code about how to like actually deal with a moving car, which is you're not supposed to get in the way of it
Right.
and try to shoot the person. You're supposed to get out of the way.
You know what shooting a person in the driver's seat isn't going to do to the car?
Stop the car.
Exactly. That is correct. It will not. In fact, it might cause the car to accelerate.
Yep.
All right, we got a couple super chats. Sinar Izu for $5 says, "Dap, speaking of alerting you to things, please tell them about the cursed YouTube recommendation I got earlier this week. LOL." So you might have to remind me about it. Tag me, because I gotta be honest, I get a lot of DMs. I can't remember all of them. So sorry. Hawkskull for £2 says, "Is anyone else getting deja vu?" Yeah, we are.
Now, Dapper, before we move on from Mike Johnson to Erica's nomination, because Colton didn't make a nomination here, but I have what I think is a really good honorable mention from this category. Can I, gift that to Colton?
Please do.
Okay, is this someone I'm going to be able to get a picture of in a reasonable amount of time?
You already have it.
And you already have
Oh, then
one.
yeah, absolutely, go for it.
Dan, do you want me to say it, or do you want
Why don't you read what I put in the private chat, and then I'll explain it a little bit.
Okay. He put Colton nominates Stadler, Tour, and Hunter for the I'm Not a Creationist or Young Earth Creationist stuff.
Okay, so which one would you like to choose?
So this is gonna be
I'm
a
gonna take
three-way.
Stadler,
This is gonna be a three-way nomination. But if we have to pick one, I'm going James Tour. I'm Not a Young Earth Creationist. If I have to pick one, it's gonna be James Tour. I'm Not a Young Earth Creationist.
Because I was going to say, if we do Stadler, then you just already have Stadler nominated.
Right, but it would be a different thing. But yeah, so we'll go with Tour if we got to pick one.
Tour,
but
okay.
all three of these gentlemen over this year have denied being either specifically a creationist in the case of Cornelius Hunter, which is freaking hilarious, or in the specific case of Tor and Stadler, young Earth creationists. And I think Tor really needs to get this nomination of the three of them, because he said in one of the many back and forth videos in this Tor and Stadler saga, he said, people ask me about the age of the Earth, and I say, I don't know. I don't think I'm not going to actually yell, because he was yelling when he said this.
Obviously.
As we established. But he said, I don't know. I don't think about the age of the Earth. I don't know how old the Earth is. And my friends, let me tell you, in the same way that if someone says they don't know the shape of the Earth, they are 100% a flat earther. If someone says they don't know how old the Earth is, that person is 100% a young Earth creationist.
Does he not
Straight
realize
up.
that he was on the record for his comments about like Mary Schweitzer and the dino soft tissue stuff?
Oh my god.
Dude, I don't know. He's using it's
Like
just it's
he's
so
in the
rich.
hemoglobin challenge that Joel has going.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's so
there's-
rich
there's-
that
the only reason why he's trying to keep that gray is for the plausible deniability, because he doesn't want to be the YEC is a big step. Whoa, God, am I like in 8th grade? It was a big step for
as soon as he's, you know, out as a young earther, like credibility
it'll
gone, he's not invited to Cambridge anymore, like that's all gone. So
It'll
he's
happen.
trying to preserve it, but he just uses then a bunch of young earth arguments. So like and he doesn't know how old the earth is.
Yeah, that's fair. So I've added James Tor to the list.
Thank you.
It did
Thank you,
not
Colton.
already actually have a
problem.
picture of him. I had to go grab one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Dapper, can I do mine? Mine's quick.
Yeah, but real quick, we're going to do a $4.99 super chat from Rosha, which says, coelacanth recipe, RC cola, soluble fish sauce from a coelacanth, sorry. Oh, that's like toxic. That's dangerous. A bit
He
of
got
guar gum and
bottom
for
shelf
added
soda.
thickness. Oh, for added thickness. Ugh. Okay, Erica, please go before I think about that too much.
Yeah, my nomination for worst use of the English language is the same Brian video that Colton mentioned
Okay.
earlier, Apologetics 101, for his heat problem solution. And mostly because it is like, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the Down the Rabbit Hole video about Temple OS, but
Oh,
that
yeah.
is like, that is what it's like reading Brian's comments, right? Is
I
that
wish his name was Terry.
it's like peering behind the veil of someone who is spiraling a little bit. And
Yeah.
and the reason isn't because Brian is spiraling. The reason is because he's just copying and pasting a hallucinating AI into his comments. He does not know what the heat problem is. He does not know how to ask about it. He does not know what the solutions pitched by ChatGPT are. He can't read the equations. He doesn't know the thermodynamics. He doesn't know the geology. He doesn't know any of it. But
You
he
should
wants
ask
you to figure
ChatGPT
it
if
out.
the feds glow in the dark.
For real. I mean, honestly, David Winsberg is doing the lion's share of the work with regard to helping him refine his model. It's just it's David and Brian talking.
No. Erica, what happened was Brian just kept like copy pasting ChatGPT to Winsberg, and Winsberg said, "All right, you don't want to listen. I'm done here. I'm not replying anymore." He literally he made David Winsberg rage quit with AI slop.
It's so hard to get David Winsberg to quit too, because he
He
ruminated
spent
on
2
that
years.
for
for
2
you.
years. He ruminated for 2 years on that. And has come back. And anyways, so Brian is my nomination here. Any of you who want to go check it out, you can go to Apologetics 101's YouTube page and just click on any of his heat problem videos and go to the comment section. I will warn you, the thumbnails are cogito hazards. When you see them, they do damage to you, and they might actually degrade your rods and cones because the colors are so sharp. You know how Vanta Black is like the darkest color black, and then
Well, it
how there's
was,
like a
but
version
yeah.
of hot pink. Yeah, or was. There's like a version of hot pink that like hurts your eyes to look at. Brian has uncovered that, but for several different colors, and he uses them in all his thumbnails.
Okay,
I just want to say with regard to, you can go to Brian's channel and you can find all this stuff. I can, but you can't make me. you can't hurt me like that.
So
Whatever, man. $50.
I want to say something that's really cool
I'll
that
do
I
it.
found
I'll
out.
do it for $50. I'll do it. I'll watch. If he said, Dan, I'll give you $50 to watch that 90-minute video I made responding to that one paragraph, I would do it. I would totally do it.
$90. I need $1 a minute at least for that. I absolutely
No, because you could do it on double speed. You just speed it up.
Yeah, you are double speed.
So there's something cool I found out about neon colors recently, right? So the reason that neon colors look so like vibrant and bright is because they actually absorb a wider spectrum of light than just the one that they emit, but then they can collect like extra photons from other wavelengths and emit them back as the actual color that you're seeing. So you're getting more light reflected off of them that is actually being shed on them of the color that they're reflecting, which is why they look like they break physics, which is really freaking cool.
That is really cool. I'm looking at pictures of them right now, and it does kind of make my eyes hurt.
Yeah. So Sinner Izu has said the do furries deny the Imago Dei thing. Oh yeah, he sent me a video about like, hey, so do people dressing up in fursuits, is that like a denial of the image of God? Like, oh my god.
that I can't even begin.
Why do so many creationist arguments go back to you're doing things because you're horny?
I don't know. Because they're horny. It's projection.
Yeah.
But they're repressed about it, so they had to project. Which is not to say that everyone else isn't horny. It's just that most people are okay about that. Most people are like, yeah, sure, I'm horny. That's fine. And yeah, or even if you don't have a current outlet, you're at least not ashamed of the fact that you are, right? Like,
I just don't get how people in the Quiverful movement are still so sexually repressed. I just don't get it.
Because all they do is missionary with their eyes closed and the lights off.
Socks on, holding a fruit cup.
Yep.
That's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, did any of you see those videos where, like, now you're genuinely having right-wingers talk about how you can have gay sex with a woman if you don't want a kid?
Well, see, the thing is, like, if you have sex, if you have sex with a woman,
Erica, that's a cognito hazard.
She's gonna want you to, like,
I'm gonna send her clips.
Cuddle afterwards, right?
I can't.
Oh,
And
yeah.
If
That's
you cuddle afterwards. That's femme behavior.
Right.
It's gay to do that. So the only real, like, straight thing to do is have sex with your bros who won't want to cuddle afterwards.
That is the straightest sex you can have is with.
The problem is, see, here's the problem, folks. This goes back to something Jordan talked about way back with his first nomination of National Socialist Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is that we're joking about this, but like, these are the people, like, in Doge and, like, setting the agenda for the Republican Party.
Right.
Like, it's the Groypers are winning the Civil War for the Republican Party right now. Like, this is who we're talking about.
Yeah.
They're winning.
I'm laughing to stop from weeping. Like,
We're eventually going to reach the fellas. Is it gay to procreate with your wife? Like that.
I mean, we've already seen. We've already seen. Is it gay for your daughter to breastfeed? We've already seen. Is it gay for your daughter to breastfeed? Right.
It's only gay if you have a female baby, because having a daughter is very femme-goated.
Yeah, that's very femme-goated. That's true.
Yeah,
that's so true. There's nothing more feminine than having a daughter.
Victoria Macarios for €2 says infernal dynamics with in parentheses and then dynamics spelled wrong. I appreciate that. All right, so did we get to the final worst use from Erica?
Did we get to Erica?
Yeah,
we did.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm on not my first hard cider here, and these are 8.4. So yeah, they're a little on the strong side. Not the strongest cider I've had. That was from a guy who I knew who was a Deacon cancer researcher farmer who made his own pear cider. And he decided that it wasn't fizzy enough. So he added a little bit more sugar and a little bit more yeast and then capped it. And it did make them fizzier. But hoo boy, did it also make them a lot stronger than he was expecting.
That scares me.
Yeah, well, kind of scared me too, but they were really good ciders. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, it's gay for a man to sleep with a woman and have her want to do it again at any point until the heat death of the universe.
Well, don't worry, then. The MAGA men are completely safe.
The straightest they can be.
They're good.
And then for 200 Polar Slowly, Princess Censored Michigan says, Dapper, can you please pass this to Dr. Dan? He can deliver, if he can deliver on his promise, should amount to $50. So Dan, let me know. Well, I will have to take the 30% cut that YouTube takes.
No, it has to come from Brian, to be clear. He has to pay me.
Okay.
He has to pay me to do it.
I love that it is genuinely, it's not enough. Like, the money has to be from Brian. You are like, the stipulations are these.
Dodgeball Dan strikes again.
Dodgeball Dan.
Dodgeball Dan. Classic. Classic.
All right. Rynek says, are you drinking Wicked Apple? First, no. But second, if Wicked Apple wants to sponsor me, I will drink it on camera with the logo facing forward. All right, so I am posting the poll right now. So there is now a poll for which creationist misused the English language the worst. I forgot to say in 2025, but whatever, you get it. Unless I can edit it. Can I edit it? No. Rob Stadler, Mike Johnson, Apologetics 101, or James Tour. They went out of order because I pre-prepared this, so I just had to add James in. But we are starting with Erica for Best Overall. Now, the first thing I want to say is Best Overall is on a sliding scale, right? We are only picking from creationists, So if you're like, well, why didn't you pick so-and-so who cured, like, I don't know, renal cancer and also donated 500 puppies to orphans or something? Because that person's not a creationist, or at least isn't to our knowledge. So only the creationists count. But Erica, who is your pick for the best overall creationist?
So first I want to say, I have gotten some weird sponsorship offers over the years. And one of the weirdest sponsorship offers that I ever got was from Black Forest Male Supplements.
Interesting.
This is several years ago. And they were like, we know that you are a channel that values conservative values and traditional America. Like, it was like this whole spiel. Like, clearly they're just combing through like minimum view count or like minimum subscribers, and then like punting off as many, sponsorship offers as possible. And I looked at it and I was like, that's crazy. And then they offered it again a month later, and I was like, okay, I'm plucking this. Like,
So,
I
universally delete those emails, but if I got something like that, I would definitely try to find a way to take their money and do the bare minimum, and then be like, also, these guys are frauds, like 30 seconds later.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so I don't do any sponsorships on my channel, as you guys probably know, but if I did, there would be a lot of very funny ways to incorporate it, and that's my one regret, is that
come on, you're not gonna shill for Raid Shadow Legends?
Brother, you don't even want to know how many grift opportunities I've had for NordVPN. It's unreal. Ask me, and here's the am I allowed to swear on this, Dapper? We've already
whatever, it's fine.
It's done.
Here's the fucked up part. The only thing I would shill for, which is HelloFresh, because I used HelloFresh. HelloFresh taught me how to cook, has never offered once. They've never once offered.
Oh man.
They hate you. They hate you specifically.
So I don't want to say exactly which company it was, but I did get a request for a rather popular YouTube sponsorship, but I had already seen other videos from people who had taken their sponsorships, and apparently it was a nightmare to get the payout from them because they kept wanting to get extra sponsorship spots.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, what would you require? And I was like, okay, here are my requirements. I want a minimum payout. And then you can, on top of that, if it goes past that amount for like my commission, you can pay out the rest of the commission. And I will absolutely not do another sponsorship ad if you ask me to do another sponsorship before the payout for the first sponsorship comes in. And if you ask, I will delete that segment from my video.
There you go.
And then they ghosted me. Can you believe it?
Yeah, no,
Shocking.
Sponsorship folks are freaky. And like, also they'll be like, hello, I really enjoyed your YouTube video on, and then it'll be like, Miocene ape sexual dimorphism, and I'm like, liar.
Did you really?
I know you didn't watch that.
Oh, this is good.
Anyways, okay.
Rosha for $1.99 says, always remember to kiss your homies goodnight. It's true. Your homies need a goodnight kiss. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, someone said White Claw hasn't offered me a sponsorship. Here's who I would take. I would take a White Claw sponsorship because I love White Claws. I would do HelloFresh. I would do Bones. I would do Skulls Unlimited. If it's something that I use, I would shield for them. But I only ever get offers from things that I would never use, and I would never ask my audience. Anyways, that's all beside the point.
Matt Dinneman, hit me up.
Matt Dinneman, new achievement. My nomination for best overall. My nomination for best overall is not going to be surprising to anybody. It's Will Duffy. Mm-hmm. I'm nominating Will Duffy for best overall strictly because he is the only creationist in all the years that I've been doing this who has taken me up on an offer to learn evolution.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's more than James Tour has done, because I offered James Tour the same opportunity and he declined. Right. So, there's something to be said for that. I disagree with Will Duffy probably on a lot more than I agree with him on, especially when it comes to anything political or with regard to human rights. But we're talking about creationism and the concept of people behaving well within creationism here. So he's my nomination for best overall for creationists this year, especially because some of my previous favorite creationists have really stumbled this year. Sal has stumbled, Rebecca has stumbled in quite a few areas, unfortunately. She's been pushing Carl Werner, which I know for a fact that Carl Werner is, I know insofar as anybody can know, he's on the Luskin level as far as I'm concerned. And the reason I know, by the way, is because I've been emailing all of the people. I've been going through his Grand Experiment books. I've been emailing all the people he cites. And I have yet to find one person who has spoken kindly of him or his approach with them. So, you know, I don't love that about Rebecca. I don't love that about Sal. Kudos to Rebecca. She is still on the wagon, LGBTQ affirming. And like,
That's
as
a big
far
deal.
as that goes, and she's also a very kind person. So like, credit where credit is due on all of that. But as far as her creationism stuff, not so. And we're worried about the creationism stuff right now. So Will Duffy is my nonsense.
That's fair. I would have a hard time arguing against that. Let's see. Roshan for $4.99 says, everyone do a non-sponsored sponsored segment for Mountain Dew Baja Blast Hard. So this is hard Mountain Dew, which is a real thing. I've had it.
Yeah,
it tastes
how I know.
like Mountain Dew. Yeah, well, I've had it on this channel mostly for the meme effect because it's a meme here on the channel. Look, if you like Mountain Dew, you like hard Mountain Dew. If you don't like Mountain Dew, you won't like hard Mountain Dew. But yeah, I will say that Baja Blast is obviously the best flavor of Mountain Dew, and you should find it at your local grocery store and or liquor store, depending on your state, or maybe your local corner store. I don't know, 7-Eleven. Depends on your state, right? But go find it. Go drink it. I think you can only actually get it in a variety pack, though. I don't know if you can actually get it elsewhere, like as like just a 6-pack of Baja Blast. I only ever find it in like 12 packs that are a variety with like live wire and like watermelon.
Voltage.
And Code Red, and then there's regular.
Red.
Yeah.
Code Red. Oh my
Bring
god.
back 2015, please.
Yep, going back to the 2000s, baby.
Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, Tor pulled a Brave Sir Robin? Color me shocked. I know, it's so surprising. Brave Sir Robin ran away.
Bravely ran away.
All right, so that was Erica's. Next up is Jordan. Jordan, surprise us with your nominee for Best Overall Creationist.
So last year, when I also went with Mike Johnson for my bit, I declined to nominate him for Best Overall because, as a Nazi, he is not the best in anything, right? I was like, I refuse to name him as best because he's a Nazi. However,
that's fair.
This year, my nomination is Speaker of the House and National Socialist Mike Johnson. And I'm nominating him not because I think he's the best, because he is a vile, despicable bag of dick water. He is nominated purely so the audience has the opportunity to snub him for this. And also so that he is nominated for every category, which makes it possible for him to do the full Jeanson, which is the greatest snub that one can get in the bunnies. And if you're not aware, this comes from where Jeanson was nominated for the 3 bad categories and like strong nominations and got nothing, right? And that was pulling a Jeanson. Pulling the full Jeanson is being nominated for all 4 and not getting any of them, right? Which Jeanson notably has not done.
Because
in all these years, he's not even nominated this year.
Right.
Amazing.
No.
How far the mighty have fallen.
It's because he's off in his own little world about like Native American genetics.
Before we go down the weird Jeanson rabbit hole, because we're gonna do just a little bit on the weird Jeanson rabbit hole. Jordan, has anyone achieved a full Jeanson?
They have. Who was it? I can't remember now.
Hashtag Carter Sweep.
Carter Sweep. The
Carter Sweep was a thing.
Carter
I
Sweep.
was just in despair because I was thinking about how Carter, no, he didn't get nominated for anything this
I know,
this
and
year.
I've got a banger for him, and it was 5th best.
Hey,
and
that's
so he didn't get nominated.
That's why we have the honorable mentions after this, and we only have a couple more to go through.
You guys,
So-
Carter hasn't even won for his shoots on location, and that's the saddest part.
I know.
I love his
He
locations.
needs like a lifetime
honestly.
achievement award. It's like you've never had an Oscar-winning role, but you're so good.
Yeah.
He's so
Here.
good, and he's so close. That's what I
know.
love the most about Carter, is that Carter will be like, this doesn't make any sense. And then he's like, no, it's the children.
Here's how to make it worse.
He's like, here's how,
But he
we'll
does
figure
it
out.
on like a canoe in some picturesque lake for some
I
reason,
love
and
it.
it's
I
great.
love Carter.
My-
Or like in a cave. Like he'll like get up in like caves and little caverns and stuff.
The cave one was dedication because he filmed that thing with a flashlight at how did that work with the camera and the phone?
I don't know.
Was that off the top of his head or that was the cave one was great.
That guy has amazing production value. I gotta give him.
Amazing.
So I know he's well funded through CMI. Like they let him use their equipment and stuff like that because he's mentioned that before on his videos. But like for me, Carter is like I would get a beer with Carter. I would get a beer with Carter, and I'd be like, so we're just ribbing each other, right? Like,
Yeah.
no harm, no
You
foul.
know
Like,
your
I
line,
fun.
right? Yeah.
It's all in the game. It's with Carter. It's all in the game.
I gotta be honest, I might if he hadn't done the cheetah thing. I'm still sore about the cheetah thing.
I know that's fair.
I can't even.
That's
I
fair.
can't even send like cute cheetah videos in the group chat because it triggers.
Yeah,
them.
that's
It makes
true.
him mad.
It does,
true.
because
It
I
does
just
make
think of Robert Carter lying about cheetahs for the dumbest reasons. Lieutenant Math
We'll get
Navigator
back
for
to Carter
$5 says, weird Native American genetics? Someone get in touch with the Mormons. You know, Jason should talk to the Mormons.
I don't know. We do need a lifetime achievement for Rob Carter. It's actually criminal that he's not getting nominated, but he's been relatively quiet this year.
No, but the thing the honorable mention that I'm going to bring up later is God, in any other year it is a top 2 for worst argument, but this year it just
it was a big year.
it's a rough year.
Yeah.
It's a rough year. I mean, look, how could Gran Torino not win Best Picture? Because it was up again. I forget the other movies that year, but it was that's what we're dealing with this year.
Yep.
Maybe there's always next year, right? Like he could double down.
Let's do
Anyway,
it, Rob. All you got to do is say the thing that I'm going to talk about later. All you got to do is say it again.
Well, Colton, your choice is up. Who do you think has been the best overall creationist of 2025?
So I am going to nominate Peter of Paleo Logos, who's also now, I think, part of the new creation group. And the reason is this ties back in with Werner. There was this big hubbub about like something that kind of looked like a beaver. And Werner was like, see, this means that like modern beavers existed back in the Jurassic. The evolutionists are scrambling. Fun fact about Werner, when I first heard his arguments, I was like literally in in the Chicago Museum of Natural History with my dad, like in 2017. I just graduated high school. And I'm like scrolling through some article of his where he's talking about how the evolutionists hide the fact that they have mammal bones in the era of dinosaurs. And then as I look from my phone down to the display, and there's literally a display of the mammals that existed when dinosaurs were around. But Peter actually took Werner to task and said, no, this isn't a beaver. It lacks a lot of the traits. The evolutionists don't have a problem with this. We can't keep putting out arguments like this because it really hurts our credibility. And it became a whole like in-house drama farm for like a month.
I'm shocked that he's still a creationist, honestly.
What's our betting pool at? Didn't it stop at like 2027?
Yeah, all of us were wrong. I think
we're all wrong.
We don't really know though, because he's been a little bit quiet lately.
It's been months.
Yeah, he's been a little quiet. Maybe he still is. I don't know. But
Peter,
here's
blink.
what
Twice.
Here's what I also know though, and this goes back to Jordan's nominee, which is that I know Peter, and actually we all know this because Joel Duff put Todd Wood's talk in our chat. I know Peter was directly impacted by grants getting absolutely annihilated. Directly, right? So like this isn't just impacting conventional science. And Todd Wood talked about that. And I know Todd Wood talked about how wrong that was, or how wrong it would be if it went through. And then of course it did end up going through. So I know Peter's in school. We'll see what happens. He's been quiet for a while. But what we can say is that I actually total cosign Colton. Peter's a rock star. I think this guy he knows more about paleoanthropology than any other creationist, period. There is not one who knows more than him. And the reason is because he puts in the work.
Do you guys remember when he was having a lot of beef with Donnie and Rawmad, and he made like a new SFT merch? It's like a human skeleton, and he had the single bone in the forearm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, Colton, Donnie now accepts that Ocelophus were bipedal. So he's come over to Peter's position. After all that hubbub, he agrees with Peter now, which is very funny to me. But he owes Peter an apology on that, I think.
He does.
He's not going to get that apology.
No.
He won't.
No. If McQueen doesn't get
a
mention, there's no way we're getting it. Yeah.
No shot.
Sure.
All right. Well, I think then we are on to our final nomination of the night before we get into some honorable mentions. And that is Dan's nomination for Best Overall. So, Dan, who do you think was the Best Overall Creationist of 2025?
So I just want to remind everybody that my nominee for Worst Behaved was Sal Cordova.
Sure was.
So my nominee for Best Overall is Sal Cordova.
Dang.
Well, you can't steal my bit, Dan. This is my bit.
No, I only nominated him for 2.
Yeah, you did 2 and 2.
all
Stadler
of
2,
them.
Sal 2.
And I did well, no, yeah, okay, fair enough.
He's stealing half your bit, Jordan.
Stadler earned. He deserved it, though. Stadler deserved it. So here's why I am paradoxically nominating Sal for worst and best. Because early this year, Sal presented an honest-to-God talk at an evolution conference.
And
now,
it was the
to be
most watched
fair-
talk at that conference.
To be fair, he wasn't, like, at the conference. It was the virtual thing that happened beforehand.
Yeah.
But he presented a talk at, like, a legit science conference, the virtual arm of the conference, which is fine. A lot of people do that. Totally legit. Got approved. No, whatever. Was it the worst conference talk I've ever witnessed in my life? Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Did he brag about the fact that the YouTube video of his talk got way more views than all the other YouTube videos of the talks from the virtual conference? Yes, he did.
Yes.
Despite the fact that the reason for that is that the link was posted on Reddit and lots of people dunked on him mercilessly, so like 1,000 people watched it. And let me tell you, there were not 1,000 people watching the rest of those virtual talks.
It was
at
all
that
hate
conference.
watchers. This guy's I have the
And it
most
was
hate
all,
watchers.
yes, you got the most views, Sal. It was because everyone wanted to see how bad it was. And Zach and I did a stream on that, reviewing his talk.
Wait.
And Sal has been mad at the two of us since.
Wait, does this make Sal the Tommy Wiseau of creationists because he's so proud of how much everyone thinks his talk is bad?
Does he know that everyone thought it was bad though? Because I don't think he does.
I think-
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure Tommy does. I'm not sure Tommy actually knows that
I think
everyone
Tommy
thinks that.
does not.
Yeah,
My impression.
I think he might actually be the Tommy Wiseau of creationists.
Can I just say, while we're here, off topic, but that's just how this works, is that my favorite conspiracy theory is that, and this is not my invention, this is from XKCD, but I'm totally going with it, is that DB Cooper and Tommy Wiseau are the same person.
That's where he got all the money.
There you go. Just don't think about that too hard. Just don't. We're just gonna leave it there.
Okay, but-
We're just gonna leave it there. Just
But was the wonderful and very homoerotic David Dakota film DB Cooper versus Bigfoot also based on a true story? Did Tommy Wiseau fight Bigfoot in a
Bigfoot.
camp full of topless dudes who kept rubbing themselves and each other on camera?
that is a question everyone has to answer for themselves. I think.
Okay. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2
But anyway,
says, Sal, trademark.
Sal.
Oh, sorry.
Sal
I'll do it later.
gets my nomination for giving. Like I've been saying for years, creationists, go to conferences, put your ideas out there, challenge people, go do it. And he wasn't like in the room, he wasn't at the conference, right? But he did a talk for the conference virtually, and you know what? That's better than literally every other creationist, except maybe one other that I'll mention in the honorable mentions. But that's why Sal gets my nomination for best overall.
I think that's very fair. And Lieutenant Matt, the Navigator for $2 says, Sal, train wrecks get many views. Not wrong.
I think too that Sal giving that talk is very, very important for all of us who do this type of science communication online to keep in mind. Because what that shows is that if creationists want to, they can talk at any conference they want.
Oh, yeah. They can just do it.
Submit. Go for
They
it.
can talk at any conference they want. And it's worth noting, and I know this from experience, as I'm sure anybody else who has done posters or presentations or publishes papers or has gotten grants also knows, and I have not done all of those things, that it is a lot easier to give a presentation at a conference or to give a poster at a conference than it is to get a grant or publish a paper. The criterion, the sort of barrier to entry is very different for those two things,
Mhm.
which would explain why Sal can give a talk at a creation conference, or at an evolution conference, rather, evolutionary biology conference, but he hasn't published that in the conventional literature. The question now is he going to publish it in the conventional literature? Can he pass that peer review? By all means. Clearly,
next
they're
thing.
willing to have it. So go
do the
for it.
next thing.
But it definitely means that creationists, you're not being censored.
Nope. Nope.
You-
You,
you
can go.
can
The
make
fact
the
that they
arguments.
have their own enclosed ecosystem is a decision they are making and imposing on themselves. They
You
can-
guys, you
whatever.
guys really need to watch Expelled. Like, come on.
I have
Oh,
the DVD,
yeah.
Colton. Come on now. Come on. I have the DVD of Expelled.
That's insane, Dan. That you got the hard A. Dan's over here collecting physical media.
Well, you have to save it for after the collapse when we're going to
Yeah,
rebuild
What year is
society.
this? 2005? What's going on here?
It was 2006 because it was
okay.
after Dover, which was 2005.
Ah, okay, that's fair. Yeah.
And you have to remember, I am old.
Dan, you're not as old as I am.
But I've been doing. I've been marinating in this stew since 2005.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is some honorable mentions. We're going to go through the categories, and we're just going to open it up to whoever has some honorable mentions. We have been going for 2.5 hours, so I'm going to say that try to keep the honorable mentions reasonably short. But also, we don't have a strict schedule for this, and also, who knows? Maybe if we go long enough, Bent will get free pizza, and he'll be able to eat this week. Because that's one of our donation goals. Is if we get enough donations, Bent will get free pizza, which is basically the only way he ever gets to eat. So,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what to do.
Yeah, there you go.
the rest of the time when he doesn't have free pizza, what he has to do is he has to huddle on the couch in the fetal position to conserve warmth so that he can conserve calories. He has to spend most of the time in a semi-unconscious state like hibernation.
He's in a torpor.
Yeah, he's a sort of a medium-term torpor until new pizza comes in. Or I have to shake him awake for Kent with Bent.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so let's go for worst behaved. Who are the honorable mentions for worst behaved? Go.
Let me pull
I've
up
got
that
two.
list.
Go for it, Dan.
Go first, Dan. I'll
All
pull
right,
up my
first
list.
we've got Donnie. Not for the other reasons for the worst behaved,
Of course.
but for the AI slop and specifically
Oh my God.
I know the AI slop is really bad, but then also the Pokemon paper, which was just amazing.
In the worst way. For
In the worst
$10,
way.
Grievous says, I was fired for being a creationist. Looks inside. Editorial fraud. Yum.
And I don't know if you know who that is, but that's Richard Sternberg. That one? That was Richard Sternberg.
Renee Reborn over and over and over for $5 says, contributing to the pizza fund. I think there was supposed to be a D there, but I appreciate it.
It could be. Look, it's fun.
Pizza is fun. I will say that.
My other honorable mention for worst behaved is Rebecca for her descent into transparent bad faith. And specifically that every time she's presented with literally any piece of evidence, she goes, "Oh, I have to check with my creationist friend about that."
Why?
The F does that mean?
Yeah.
Like
what it means is I have to have someone else assure me that that compelling argument you gave me is wrong for reasons that don't make sense, but that are emotionally comforting.
The Rebecca stuff is tough too, because it's like we all talk to each other, so we all know about there's a science friend hive mind, right? We all know, if something
We're the
happens
cabal.
to one of us, we're the cabal. If something happens
We're
to
the
one of
deep
us,
state.
we're the deep state, right? It trickles through. So, Rebecca's had some conversations with some people that we know who are involved with us in sort of behind the scenes, and sometimes the people have been on our channels and things like that. Yeah, very devious. But I'm really unhappy with how this particular person was treated, and specifically with how this person how Rebecca responded to this person, when presented with truly as irrefutable as something can be in the moment without having a chance to look into it. That's what this person presented to Rebecca, and Rebecca's response to that was essentially that must be a lie. Mm-hmm. And I don't. Of course, you're going to have to appreciate that I'm getting this secondhand from somebody else, but I trust this person very greatly, and so I don't. That doesn't jive with me.
Mind you, this is the same person who presented the exact same argument to Peter, who, in all fairness, was like, "Ooh, yeah, that is a big problem for my side of the camp."
Also, and again, speaking firsthand, not secondhand, in separate conversations, that's essentially her response to me. Is, oh, I got to check on that. I don't know if I can believe that. Oh, so you're telling me I'm lying to your face, is what you're telling me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She responded very well to the hominin stuff, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure if that's just because, I was very gentle when I was having that conversation. I tend to be very, I think I'm pretty good at being disarming in these kinds of conversations. I hope.
Yeah, her nice lady thing is a shtick, though. It's not real.
I
Well,
was.
She's
go
put
ahead.
some skin in the game when it comes to the LGBTQ rights and stuff like that.
That's true.
Which like that can't just be. That's not just fake, So clearly, there's.
Well,
Yeah, that's fair.
especially because it's like she's gotten consequences for that.
Right,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. She's paid a
Been
price.
cut off. Yeah.
I think
she's
Sal
been-
cut her off for that.
Yeah.
He did. They
They're
sort of
back together,
made
though.
up. Yeah.
Oh,
they're
they
friends
made
again.
up?
But
They're friends
also,
again.
that breakup video was one of
Oh my
the
God.
worst things to watch that I've ever seen. It was horrible.
It was worse than Scott's Tots. That's how awful.
Oh yeah. Scott Stotts has nothing on the Sal Rebecca breakup.
I'll say though to Dan's point, right? Like she's coming online with this whole deal. It's actually not dissimilar, I think, to Will Duffy, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna be confronted with this evidence. It's in a different structure where she's hosting it and having other people come and bring it to her. But when Rebecca says, okay, I'm gonna look into that, she's not weighing things equally. And I don't know if Will does either, right? Like I'm not in his head either, but I'm using that as a baseline comparison here. What she does is, as you guys said, she goes and talks to her creationist friends about it, or in some cases, she doesn't look into it, which like we all remember the community post from a while back and the notification where she was like, I don't have time to look into all of this. But then why are you doing the shows?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like either do it or don't. No one's forcing you to do this. Like if you want to be a creationist, like do your thing, whatever. But I don't think that you are allowed to host shows called Bring Me Proof for Evolution, and then you don't look into it at all to actually.
Yeah, that's just
evaluate it.
dishonest, right?
I don't think it's responsible as somebody trying to get to, supposed to be trying to get to the truth.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
if it were us like breaking into whatever church she goes to and like presenting her with a bunch of papers and she was like, look, I don't have time for this. Yeah, fine, that's reasonable. But it's like the opposite. She's coming over to our houses and being like, hey, can you give me evidence for evolution? And then we're like, yeah, sure, here you go. It's like, oh, maybe later. What are you doing? We got a couple super chats here. Roshna for $4.99 says, Bent doesn't get pork and beans from Dapper Steel Cauldron. Roshna, that was a thing you made up in a dream earlier today.
No, it was Divine Revelation.
Oh, okay. Metageeky Platypus for $2 says, honorable mention for Cheetos phylogeny. Oh, yeah, the Cheetos phylogeny.
amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my god, the Cheeto phylogeny.
Oh, Rob
They're looking at
Stadler, Cheeto
birds, they're
phylogeny.
looking at birds. That was crazy. I'm going to do honorable mention for worst behaved Calvin Smith in general. I find
Boom.
Calvin Smith very
Yep.
distasteful.
You mean the next CEO of AIG, Calvin Smith?
I would characterize him as
calling
smudge and arrogant.
I'm so calling it.
I'm so glad that Jordan got that one.
I think Calvin Smith rubs creationists the wrong way, right? Like he
Yeah.
rubs everyone the wrong way.
Well, it's the
Because he's very
smudgeness.
smug.
Yes, the smudgeness.
Are we just going through any? Can I give?
No,
all my-
just the first category.
Okay, just worst behaved. Okay, so I got Calvin Smith, and then I'm gonna go. That's all I'm gonna do for worst behaved.
That's
I
fair.
think I'm satisfied with that.
And
Oh,
remember-
Donnie AI used, but Dan already covered that.
Yeah. And remember, you can't vote for these people. These are the people who didn't make it to the nominations.
Didn't make the cut. Oh my
But like,
goodness.
it's been such a bumper year for creationist bullshit.
Just
that,
wait
like,
till
we
the
got to
next
talk
category.
about it.
Oh
I
my
have
god.
one for that.
Hold on. Worst behaved. Ken Ham for measles at the Ark Encounter.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
It's a good one.
Super Spreader Ark Encounter event. Didn't
Uh-huh.
nip that one in the bud. so
And
gonna put that one-
hosting. Well, that was this year, wasn't it?
No, that was years
That was
ago.
was that last year when they hosted? What's this? What, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually 2023. But yes.
Also,
it's-
didn't
wow.
one of their
Time
musical
flies.
outfits turn out to be like child abusers in the
That
background?
was the band.
Hillsong
There was a
singer.
Yeah, that was a
the band.
thing.
They had them there. They had
Yeah.
them there.
They hosted the band, but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
Look,
them.
Wait, was it the God's Not Dead band?
No. Yeah. Well, that was a different scandal, but yes,
Oh,
different.
goodness.
Yes,
Well,
that
I'll-
was same band. No, sorry, similar scandal, different band.
Yeah.
I'll say this:
Scandal.
if the scandal hasn't come out and there's good reason to think you didn't know, I'll give you a pass on having platformed that group beforehand. Whatever, fine. All right. So worst argument. What are our honorable mentions for worst arguments?
I have one immediately.
Go for it.
That would be Rebecca for two things. One, at one point, she made this like post or video like, "Oh my God, surprising evidence that dinosaurs live with man," and it was just Paluxy. But
Oh my
she
God.
she was citing raw mat as the evidence for
Oh.
Paluxy.
Oh,
Now
no.
here's the 1-2 punch. In the comments, a geologist who just goes by Howard, who has been on our show a few times.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He was going through like why that was a fraud and everything, and her response was to say, "Well, hang on. If dinosaurs didn't live recently with man, why do we have footprints of them on the surface, like that you can like go to like national parks and see them?" And it's like, love, those footprints in your paradigm were made by the flood, or in the flood, buried in the flood. Then when the floodwaters receded, the overlying layers got eroded away to expose them. That is not evidence of them walking around after the flood with people in like the Egyptian times. That's not what we're looking at.
But
And
Colton,
I was
That's
just
bad.
like, I
That's
literally
bad.
like, I had a White Claw in my hand when I was reading that comment, and my jaw went slack.
Colton, have you considered that actually Sobek isn't a crocodile god, but actually a like, now I'm losing it.
A Spinosaur.
Spinosaurus, yeah, Spinosaurus god. Why couldn't Sobek the Egyptian god be a Spinosaurus god actually?
Sorry,
Prove
sorry
it's not.
Yeah.
I'm like reeling. I actually memory hold raw mat as a source. She had raw mat on to talk about mitochondrial DNA.
Yep.
She had raw mat on to talk
As
about
an expert.
to have raw mat on to talk about anything. Raw mat's track record is so bad for getting stuff even close to right, even within creationist circles. It's unreal. You guys will get a kick out of this. I saw the other day there's an SFT subscription, I think I'm subscribed to him. No, I'm not subscribed to him, but it's like you watch a creationist thing. So here's your suggested video. It was just suggested video for a live stream that was coming up, and it was classic SFT. So it's Donnie Deal's like mitochondrial DNA destroyed, like evolution annihilated, like whatever. And it's like the three experts who are on to talk about it is Donnie, who is by far and away the most informed of the three. Just let that
That's
sink
bad.
in.
That's
if
bad.
you don't know who the other
Yeah.
two are, let that sink in. And we're talking an order of magnitude more informed. Number 2, Ramat, obviously. Third, Brian. That's
Amazing.
Oh.
Amazing.
Wow.
We're gonna overturn an entire field, those three.
And
The brain trust.
I want to be abundantly clear in case anybody who is sort of an adversarial towards us is listening. The reason why we're talking about them this way is not because they don't have degrees, right? People who don't have degrees can do amazing things.
They can learn things.
It's a great time to be an autodidact. Although I don't think that somebody who's learning something on their own it's going to be a lot harder for them to reach the level of somebody who's formally trained, period. Like that's just a fact.
Look, you're on my channel.
However-
I have one degree. It's a bachelor's degree in history. I'm doing okay when it comes to understanding all the genetics and the geology and all that stuff.
The reason we're dogging on them is because of the track record, right?
Mhm.
These are people who have gotten things wrong so many times over and over and over again, and who have not improved their research methods at all.
Who have been corrected on the specific thing over and over and over again. One of my favorite ones with Uncooked Matthew is like the when he was saying that the entire every element on Earth came from the decay chain of uranium, and he did this while having the decay chain of uranium on the screen, which notably did not have all of the elements.
I remember what that was. It was talking about how the evolutionists have a problem with elements because the Big Bang says everything decayed from uranium.
Right.
And I'm like,
amazing.
what?
No.
What are we talking about?
Let me just join the pile on with Rawmat here because somebody emailed me screenshots of a chat he had with Rawmat on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. And they're talking about mitochondrial stuff, and this other person brought up background selection, and like they were talking about background selection, and his response was because in genetics, background selection refers to the genetic process where selection against harmful mutations reduces diversity at linked neutral sites. He, Dan, is talking about something totally different. No, I'm not. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Matt. That's the exact thing. And then you're just saying Dan's wrong because here's the thing that it means, and he's saying something different. It's like, no, that's what I'm saying. It's that exact thing that makes you wrong. I'm not talking about something that you just like, I don't know if there's like a moth in between his ears that's just trying to get out, but like it's
he
again, no nominations for Raw Matt this year.
No nominations for Raw Matt. And like, first of all, the amount of times that I've had to correct him on Proton 21 and the reading Osmium stuff it is countless. They still bring it up. And by the way, shade on Donnie. Donnie never corrects him. Right? He'll just bring it up. Donnie's sitting right there.
Never.
Donnie just lets him run.
Never.
You know, it's like a poorly behaved kid and their negligent mother at the playground. Like he's just
it is almost
around.
midnight. Do we have other honorable mentions for this one? Because I got a couple.
Yes. Nuclear Neanderthals from Donnie.
Amazing.
That's how Neanderthals. That's how we can explain the nature of Neanderthals. Never mind the fact that the hypermutation that is supposed to be caused by the accelerated nuclear decay in the radioactive caves that we don't have is supposed to explain simultaneously the genetic diversity, the homozygosity, and the hypermutation. Like those, the hypermutation and the homozygosity, two opposing things.
Yeah,
but the accelerated nuclear decay is explaining both of them. And we don't have the radioactive caves. That's it. That's what he does to solve the Neanderthal thing. What about the heat problem, Donnie? What
There's more radiation.
The constant flip-flopping between we don't believe accelerated decay and accelerated decay explains this. And then 4 months later, they're back to we don't believe in accelerated decay. And we just yo-yo. Same thing with between CPT and hydroplate.
That was one of mine. That was one of mine for this. An honorable mention was Donnie going back to hydroplate.
Hey, real quick, before the context is lost, Grievous, who's been a member for 14 months at the Amnio level, says 1 degree. Okay, linguist, which I am going to once again, I'm going to blame Erica because in that one video years ago, she said I was a linguist, and so that's who I'm going to blame.
I don't even know if that video is still public because I've unlisted some of those older videos just because I can't stand seeing them. But they're very. I don't like looking at them anymore.
I actually don't think it's you. I'm pretty sure it started before that video anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay,
because you had to hear it somewhere.
I had to have heard it somewhere.
I'm pretty sure it's just that I keep talking about linguistic stuff, and I know more than most non-linguistic, or more than most non-linguists would about linguistics, right? Like, how many non-linguists do you know can help actually define things like split ergativity? Not many.
Do we have any more?
There's only one I can think of, and while it wasn't this year, it keeps being brought up to me every year, which was a fella named On Good Soil who came up with created polyploidy.
No, that's actually a really good argument. I love that argument.
I think that one's actually good, and this, to be clear, I know what you're talking about, and that goes back to what's his face, Emery Moyna / Harry F. Sanders.
Oh yeah,
who's the same. He did it's a Harry F. Sanders III.
The I can't believe it's not a school shooter guy.
Oh my god.
He did.
You know I'm right.
I know.
It was the.
I saved all his videos when he migrated them from YouTube to whatever. I downloaded all of them.
Talking about a Christian men need to take their country back by
that
force.
one, yeah. Anyway, he did this thing about plants with polyploidy, and then this dude on Reddit was like, what if that explains, because instead of created heterozygosity, what if it was polyploid at the beginning? That was the...
Get our diversity.
And that did come up recently somewhere. That did come up this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, in the wild, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, is that it for worst argument?
Nope, I got 2 more for you.
Oh my goodness.
I got 2 more. This category is amazing. First, there's Sal going all in on not all proteins sharing a common ancestor means evolution is dumb.
For no reason.
Which, like, he doesn't realize that de novo genes are a thing, right? It's like, that is not just an argument for evolution, it is a necessity of evolution.
Species level, which means creationists have to accept it, or they have to change their kinds model.
I know. It needs no more explanation, but this is the snub that I'm really sad about. Because Rob Carter deserves a nomination for this one. Because he did a long video talking about mitochondrial DNA, mutation rates, and all this stuff. And he basically said, like, yeah, you can't get, even with pedigrees, you can't get the young Earth time frame to work. You need something else. Mm-hmm. And that's something else for mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited exclusively through the maternal line, could be patriarchal drive,
Awesome.
Okay.
which is more mutations in long-lived biblical patriarchs,
right.
which is to say males,
Right, because you
Who
keep
are-
producing sperm as you get older as a
Right.
male, whereas
who
females,
are
the patriarchs.
not transmitting their mitochondrial DNA. So there is no way for patriarchal drive to
Right.
in any way affect the accumulation of mutations in mitochondrial DNA.
Okay, but Dan, have you considered that?
Shut your face.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that is what I was going to say, actually.
Whoa, take
mean-
it easy.
I was going to say shut the hell up, but, like, it basically, yeah.
It's just because, like, Rob Carter knows that males do not transmit their mitochondrial DNA. Rob
Generally,
Carter knows
no.
that.
They do not.
This was a long video. This was like a 45-minute. It was the one on the new trail in the park near his house, and he just walked this whole trail. It was again a beautiful production, whole thing. And he gets to the end, and he's like, "Patriarchal drive could explain this." It was like, dude, you know that that's wrong.
Okay, but Dan,
and
what?
I cannot believe we didn't have room to nominate that argument, because that is incredible, but it was the 5th best this year.
But Dan,
So
what
here
if
we
the
are.
fact that males don't pass on mitochondria is actually a result of genetic entropy?
What if you shut your face?
Hey, side note, Colton, while I was looking for a thumbnail earlier today, or looking for a picture for a different video that I'm working on Peter Line, I saw that Rob Carter has a video on CMI that's top 5 reasons the Earth isn't ancient, and I was
Yeah,
like,
I just saw that today.
Oh,
I
boy.
I saw that too.
wonder.
That'll be
And that's
juicy.
I
part 2
wonder.
of that series. I saw the first part. I haven't seen the second part yet.
because there's got to be geology in there, right? Like he's
There
got
was in part 1,
Gotta
if I
be.
remember correctly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it widespread sedimentary layers, dinosaur soft tissue, helium and zircons.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be some DNA genetic entropy stuff going on.
Mitochondrial DNA or genetic entropy, one of those two. I'm not sure which. 'cause
Carbon
I
and
don't
coal.
think you do both.
Carbon and
the
coal.
radiocarbon and stuff. Yeah.
Yep, those are the typical ones.
Nice.
All right, so I think that's it for worst argument.
That's it for that one.
All right, so now we are on to worst use of the English language. And I mean, look, there's been so much AI slop being produced by creationists lately
Yeah.
that, like,
Just all of that.
yeah,
I have one for that. Calvin Smith making a video where he was like, "I just convinced ChatGPT that man lived with dinosaurs."
he made
I
more than
concur.
one of those. He made
Amazing.
several
Was there
videos.
more than one?
Amazing.
He did, and for some reason they have like a wireframe head lip synced to the like a robot reading the ChatGPT responses, and like I guess just to make it more presentable, but it's just like cringy as hell. And like, bro, you can convince ChatGPT of anything if you try hard enough.
That's a good
Anything.
one.
Brian is a textbook case of that.
I'm just gonna go ahead and like repost here the leprechaun situation on r/creation,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and he knows that. The only reason they made that is because they're trying to get attention for Answers in Genesis Canada, and a couple of large names did videos where they were like, "I convinced ChatGPT of XYZ," and he tried to hop on that bandwagon. That's the only
Okay.
reason. Those
Yep.
videos.
I have to make a caveat though, because interestingly enough, even though you can convince ChatGPT to argue in favor of the existence of leprechauns, there's one group of pseudoscience nonsense peddlers who have been failing spectacularly to get ChatGPT to agree with them. And that's flat earthers. And I have seen David Weiss repeatedly argue with ChatGPT about the flat earth and fail to get ChatGPT on board. So,
Really?
If you can't
Amazing.
convince ChatGPT,
yeah, you got a problem there.
yeah.
Oh, man. Usually all you have to do to convince ChatGPT is after it gives you an answer, say, "No, that's wrong. Blah, 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 blah." And then it will say, "Oh, I'm sorry I got that wrong. You're right. Let's, elaborate on
So
this fact that
tempted
you
to
just
make a
gave me."
foul gesture here.
Yeah, it does the yes, dad. I mean, daddy. I mean, dad. I mean, daddy. that's ChatGPT. Like,
I am such a Luddite about AI. I
Oh
think it
my
should be
God, I
am
banned
too.
across the board.
I am too.
After I saw students at my field camp last year taking their like seismic images that we collected for ourselves that we were supposed to analyze for ourselves of a buried fault scarp from the 80s and copy and pasting that image to ChatGPT and saying like analyze this and make it sound human, I can't. I just
I'm
can't.
gonna.
Colton,
I'm gonna
check
start
the
going under
Cambrian
every
Bunnies
creationist
chat over on
video.
Signal. Or WhatsApp, sorry.
I'm gonna start going on every creationist video and being like, "Grok, is this true?" I
Oh
Grok is
my
true.
god.
I made that a few weeks ago. There you go. You can have that.
I'm gonna get that as a patch for like my plate carrier.
I just sent, in case anyone's wondering, I sent Colton my no AI Butlerian jihad, which is both in Arabic and English, because jihad is in fact an Arabic word. And then someone asked me, is the Butlerian part a real Arabic word? I'm like, well, it's as much a real Arabic word as it is a real English word, which is to say, not really, but like, if you know the context, then yeah, sure. It's like saying, is Jedi a real English word? It's like,
Inshallah,
well, kind
I am
of.
taking away Brian's ChatGPT subscription.
Yes. Alhamdulillah. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, AI, try something more convincing, like claiming it came in a fever dream after doing Tony
I'm
Montana
telling you,
levels of coke.
nobody can beat God revealed it to me in a dream. Oh, you don't believe me because God doesn't talk to people? Boy, that sucks for you, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I guess yeah, see you in hell. God told me.
Yeah. All right. So, are there any other?
Rip bozo. Sorry.
Are there any other worst use of the English language that we got here? Doesn't seem like it. Do we have any other best overall honorable mention?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I do.
I have one
want-
too. We'll see if it's the same one.
I want to give big kudos and credit to Creation Ministries International and specifically to Peter Line, tangentially to Donnie Deals, for finally accepting that Australopithecus was at least bipedal sometimes on the ground, which I have been working on this one for years. So this is a big W for me.
All
They
right.
still got a ton of stuff wrong in both of those videos. But I will say this, and you guys will understand the significance of this. I watched all of Donnie's recent videos on Australopithecus, all of them. It's the sum total was like 4 hours of just Donnie Deal's PowerPoints. I listened to it at the gym. I put it on double speed, listened to it at the gym. So really it was like 2 hours. So I got it done relatively quickly. It is the best, most accurate Donnie Deal's content I've ever seen. It is the most accurate. And you want to know why?
And you've seen all of it.
I've seen all of it.
That is the meanest thing you've ever said to somebody else on one of these panels.
It's true.
Jordan, this is a roundabout compliment to myself, because you know who his primary source for the information was? It was me.
There we go.
He said I watched a lot of Erica's content for this, and so then I'm watching it and I'm like, what a brilliant genius has Donnie Metamorphosis.
Amazing.
That's really good.
Awesome.
So they're my nominations. Congrats, Peter Line. Congrats, Donnie. Not quite as good as any of our other nominations.
The other nominees, but
Mike Johnson.
Honorable mentions. Mine for this one was Brian Thomas from ICR, because they published a real paper.
Yeah, they did.
And anytime
Yeah.
Creationist publishes
Yeah.
a legit paper in a real journal, you know what? That's going to get you close to the mark. So there you go.
Yeah, good job, guys. It didn't
That's
really
good.
push forward the cause of creationism against
It did not.
anything else,
It was
but good job.
Totally unrelated, but
Yeah.
good for them
So
for doing the process for real. And the reason I put Sal ahead of Brian Thomas, even though Sal did a talk and Thomas did a paper, is because by doing a conference talk, that invites, even online, that invites more direct, immediate criticism.
Right.
Yeah, very
Whereas for those of you who have been to conferences know that if somebody is listening to your talk and they disagree with you,
Oh, yeah.
how are you going to know if anyone in the audience disagrees with your talk? Don't worry, they're going to tell you during
Oh,
the
yeah.
Q&A. Don't worry, they'll tell you.
But I also want to
say
say, Sal was actually trying to argue against principles about evolutionary biology, which the Thomas paper really wasn't. So,
Right, that's a
like,
good
there's
point,
that
too.
too.
It was just a description of like some hadrosaur soft tissue find, right?
Yeah,
was
it was
cool.
it was some preserved stuff that they
I
found,
remember I looked at it and they were like, "Oh, we found like remnants of a fragment of a protein sequence or something." Which, like, okay, cool, it's not new, but
yeah, I read the
but
paper.
But it's
and
really
it-
fine.
another point in the
it was
data
cool,
set.
and it was totally legit.
I also remember them like they had like a section, I think, that was them arguing against like the biofilm alternative, which has been like refuted since 2010. like-
Yes.
So,
Like, I don't know why we're
Yeah.
still making a hubbub about that. Nobody in the field is talking about
Nobody
that.
thinks it
So,
was,
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, "Did Dr. Thomas find the eyes yet?" And no, he did not. And actually, that's going to make me like think that maybe I should do like a worst argument, like retroactive honorable mention, which is to say that like CMI, especially Randy Galuza, but as a group, the whole organization continue to try to push.
ICR?
I did mean ICR. I'm sorry about that. ICR has been continuing to push their like Mexican cave. I think it's Mexican cave
The
tetras.
cave fish.
The fish
And,
with
like-
the eye, yeah, they're going to
and,
grow
like,
eyes back.
So like to date, what they have proved is that K-fish can get a tan. That's it. That's all they've demonstrated. K-fish can get a tan. And it's like, okay, how do you think that's going to overturn natural selection?
Listen,
Any day now.
I think one of these days what they're going to do is they're going to embrace genetic entropy as getting in the way of, what is it? What do they call it?
Continuous environmental tracking.
Yeah, CET. And so the reason it's not working is because they genetic entropied too much.
Oh, okay.
Did they spin too much? Is that what did it?
Those naughty K-fish.
That-
They're also
that-
too horny.
I could see that as an actual, because that's how I think too. Is that whenever I'm thinking like, okay, so how are they going to wiggle out of
What are they
this
gonna
one?
do
Like, how are they
next?
going to worm their way out of this? Like, and it actually sucks because anytime any cool new paper comes out, there's a little whisper in the back of my mind that's like, okay, how are they going to spin this? Like,
Yeah, me too.
There's a new Homo habilis partial skeleton that came out, and I was like, okay, time for me to comb through this manuscript and see which things are about to be quote mined from it. It's like,
Yep.
And actually, the whole continuous environmental tracking, like, I've recently figured out that there's literally nothing to it besides phenotypic plasticity exists and also epigenetics exists. Therefore, natural selection is fake. And it's like, okay, but you need to explain the actual changes in allele frequencies, which neither phenotypic plasticity nor epigenetics does, but which is observable in real populations that you think are related. How did they get that way?
But once again, I say, you shut your face.
Yeah, that is the counter.
Counterpoint. Can you refute the fact that you went extinct?
Well, I am here.
Yeah, you're a ghost.
Dapper went extinct just like that H1N1 went extinct at Carter example.
Even though it's still found mixed in with modern flu.
Even though it was still circulating years later.
It's fine.
All right, guys, we just hit midnight for our East Coast friends, so I'm going to say, unless anyone has any more on-rule mentions that they can get through real quick,
I have only one.
Okay, go for it.
It was from like a combo paper like this. Now, this originally happened back in 2014, but they re-upped it in 2025. And basically, there are these things called seismites, which are distortions in sedimentary layers that are from earthquakes. And they found Marcus Ross and I think Todd Wood, or it might have been Kurt Wise, one of the two, found what they thought. It was actually a different type of soft sedimentary deformation, but they thought it was like a giant seismite. That would have required basically catastrophic plate tectonics to happen. Now, the problem they noted in their abstract was if there were these kind of continental movements that made one here, we have a real problem that they're not anywhere else because these would be globe-spanning earthquakes and it should be found in everything, and we have no idea why that's the case. And then it turned out it was a type of fluid escape structure instead. But
they were like, phew.
Well, no, they didn't say that. Somebody else found that out. But so to my knowledge, they haven't acknowledged it. But yeah, that's it.
All right. So what I think we're going to do now is we're just going to check to see if anyone has anything coming up on their channels they want to announce, and then once we're done with that, I'll do it, and then we're going to get out of here. So Jordan, anything coming up for you?
I got another 2 projects while we were talking right here. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan,
Make that money, Jordan.
Is there anything? Are you going to be on YouTube
But
maybe tomorrow?
I will be on YouTube tomorrow,
Right,
however, on the Top Hats Off channel, reprising my role as the joined Trill executive officer of the Kongzi.
Yes. Awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's got me, it's got Jordan, it's got Maddie, it's got Chesh, it's got Craig from FTFE. So like there's a lot of people who my audience are fans of. So if you're not watching that, go check that out. And also we have some other people who aren't like online or on YouTube so much, but are still around, like we've got Tiri and stuff like that. So like we've got Zeralon. So those are people who are not as big in like the debunking sphere, but they're a lot of fun anyway. So come check it out. Dan, what do you got?
I am having this coming Wednesday. I am going to hang out with Dr. Chris Thompson. We are going to review a very brief performance, let's say, by some rando named Junior Silva on one of Rebecca's streams, where he was trying to make an argument against mitochondrial DNA showing an old, timeline, an ancient coalescent point for the most recent common ancestor. And in arguing against this, he showed the exact data that Chris had showed like 10 minutes earlier, demonstrating the distant most recent common ancestor.
Oops.
And so me and Chris and everyone else in the chat for that show were like in the live chat, just like, dude, you're presenting the other side. What are you doing? And he's just like showing the data, being like, look, it proves a young Earth. We're like, that's the opposite of what that shows. And he also tried to sketch out like this weird thing that I have no idea what it was. And it's short. It's like maybe 10 minutes. So Chris and I are going to try to parse it because it was hilarious. We have no idea what argument he was trying to make other than like accidentally showing evidence for an old Earth. So I got that coming up, and I have other stuff ready to record, but I won't say what it is because I haven't decided the order yet. But in the thing I just did with, like, here's how you defeat genetic entropy, I've got, like, 3 of those queued up, and I just have to record and edit them. But I'll have a bunch of those coming out soon.
Awesome. What day is that going to be again, Dan?
That'll be next Wednesday, the 21st, whatever day next Wednesday is.
What time?
21st.
Time? Dan, what time is that going to be?
Oh, that's at 9 p.m. Eastern.
There you go. All right.
My time slot.
Yeah, but people might not know.
I know.
Erica, what do you got coming up for us?
What do I have coming up? I'm desperately trying to get this video that I've been working on finished, so I'm working on that. It's on Peter Line and Donnie changing their opinion on australopithecines, and then it's also on me nitpicking all of the other stuff they said and explaining why this is a step in the right direction, but it doesn't get you any closer to squaring creationism with the fossil record. I also have a video script in the works for 2 new recent papers that have come out, one on the Homo habilis partial skeleton and another on the new potentially basal to the Neanderthal Denisovan Neanderthal split, which would be pretty cool, from a fossil in Morocco. And I might do one, if I have time, on this really cool paper that was released by some primatologists that were talking about, like, okay, what are the best predictors for homosexuality in primates, right? Because a lot of primates are really gay. And so they were like, okay, what social and ecological conditions best predict whether or not this is going to be a part of their social system? And I thought that was pretty cool because I studied social systems a little bit during my master's degree. And then I have another talk with Will Duffy, I think February 3rd. We're going to be talking Age of the Earth stuff. All of the people on this panel are going to see my PowerPoint first. And I'm currently
you got to email that to me.
Yeah, it's not done yet. So I'm trying to get it done and then dust it to you guys.
So is the reason that they are that gay, is that like alpha male primate podcasts? Is that the
Oh, dude, no way. It's actually they're gonna hate it because the answer is animals are gay because it's fun and because it reduces social tension. Like that's it. Which incidentally is the same reason that humans have sex for pleasure and are also gay, right? Like because it's fun and it reduces social tension and we like connection. Like that's it.
Whoa. That seems pretty fake to me.
Oh, so you're arguing it's a choice.
Yeah. Listen, until you show me the gay gene, I will not be satisfied. It's temptation. Why won't these men quit? Onion headline.
It's just like I don't want to derail us right here at the end. It's just so sad because like we're in 2026. Just be gay. It's okay. It's fine. Stop.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Just whatever, man.
Do what you want.
Nobody
No one
cares.
cares.
You do you. Nobody cares.
But the thing is that it's like, I don't know. Like, you guys know my videos. I'm not satisfied with the video unless it can provide proper background for it. And there's a lot of research for all of those videos that goes into making a proper sort of introduction before we get into it. So we'll see what ends up actually materializing.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. I look forward to that. All right, see. Colton, I'm assuming that you don't have anything coming up on YouTube that you want people to know about? Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. Let's see. Over here for my channel, Jordan already told you guys about Star Trek Adventures. That next episode is going to be, I believe, titled We Are the Stars That Sing With Our Life. It is there is a teaser trailer up on Top Hats Off if you want to have like a preview of what that's going to be about. Then that's going to be tomorrow, and that's going to be at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, starting on Top Hats Off. So go check out that. If you don't know how to get to Top Hats Off, I mean, just search Top Hats Off, like, I don't know, Star Trek Adventures or something, or like Star Trek Endurance or Lexington, whatever. It'll pop up. Then on Saturday, I'm going to be back with Dr. Kip Davis and Vishanti, and we're going to be continuing on with our AI bro friends and how they are badly misinterpreting and just failing to understand the most basic facts about a chart for babies of evolution, like human evolution for babies. Here you go, from Luca on for babies.
Yeah.
Just completely. My favorite example so far has been that they noticed the evolution of the post-anal tail coming with, phylum Chordata, and they decided that was actually the origin of the anus.
Sounds about right.
Yep. So
these guys are brilliant.
Yeah,
they're world beaters.
Yeah, that's also who gave us coelacanth, by the way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Tuesday, we're going to be doing Matt with Maddie. So Maddie from Science Side Up and OK Roll is going to be back on the channel. We are continuing our ridiculously long and tedious voyage into Raw Matt's viral Noah's Flood video that has over 1 million views. I think it's got 3 million or something. It's absurd.
I'm sorry. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Raw Matt has a viral, quote-unquote, documentary about Noah's Flood.
This went viral so many years ago, Jordan.
It was 2020. It was a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let this lull you to sleep, right? Because on one hand, there is the devastation of Raw Matt. 1 million people watched Raw Matt's video. On the other hand, his channel did not grow.
No, it did not.
And that feedback has not switched over. So this was clearly an algorithmic thing. Whatever. Hey, as somebody who has a video with 1.3 million views myself,
Boom.
I can tell you when it translates to how that looks, how that should theoretically look financially, and it did not pan out well for
If
him.
this isn't a compelling reason for another worldwide flood, I don't know what is.
Just start over. Hard reset.
Then on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be premiering the first video of a new series about Catholic geocentrists. The first title is Catholic Geocentrism Depends on Bad Philosophy. So we're going to dive into some of the philosophical aspects behind Catholics who decide that the globe is the center, the Earth is the center of the universe. And I do want to say, before you come at me about it, I know that the vast, overwhelming majority of Catholics are not geocentrists. I recognize that. You don't have to tell me. I get it. So yeah, that's what's coming up in the next week or so here on the Dapper Dinosaur channel. Do remember, everyone's channel who has a channel is linked in the description. So if for some reason you're not subscribed to all those channels, go ahead and do that. Turn on the notifications. Also, most of us have Patreons or something like that. Go check those out if you can afford it and you like what we do, because it really does help. It helps us make sure that we can keep going with this stuff, because, I mean, frankly, at least for some of us, especially for me, if I didn't get support from you guys, from, my audience, you guys, I wouldn't be able to keep doing it as much as I do. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for everyone who was here, who watched, who hit like, who super chatted. It really means a lot. I hope you had fun. And the last thing I have to say is ICE must be abolished because they're fucking murderous Nazis. Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Benthovend, Tapioca Weasel, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Landon Knoll, Ian Chen, Elleron Teller, Philgevara, Kelvin Brostek van Manen, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Dan Sheedy, Pegajace, The Plastic Mouse, Arrow Dodger, Gordon Love Science, Trixie Purple, Agricola Sequa, S. Kenneth Swenson, Edwin M., Lance Hall, and John Ackerman. It's because Patreon, the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.